But we'll be kicking from north to south, left to right as you're listening to us. And the kick from Nicky Quevedo is in the air, and it's going to be returnable. Taken at the 8, out across the 15 to the 20 to the 25-yard line. On the return for Fort Hays State that time was Dawson Brown. It'll be 1st and 10 for Fort Hays State at the 25-yard line. And, John, if people want to get in touch with us here in the booth today, how can they reach us?
UCOradio@gmail.com. That's an email address, if you're not familiar. And you can use your app on your phone or get on your computer and type an email to us. And it can say nice things. It can say mean things. It can say whatever you want it to say. But we're going to give you a shout-out when you reach out to us, and we want to hear from you. UCOradio@gmail.com.
1st down and 10 for Fort Hays State. Dawson, the quarterback, hands off running left, out across the 30 to about the 35-yard line, and still on his feet out to the 37-yard line. Good run on the first play of the game for Adrian Soto, the junior from Pueblo, Colorado. Gains 13, and it's a 1st and 10 out to the 38.
Yeah, I don't know that you or I could have gained 13 there, but we definitely could have gotten to the next level through the hole that was created by that Fort Hays State offensive line on the first play. So going to need to see more out of this UCO defense up front.
1st and 10 at the 38 for the Tigers. Dawson throws right side, short pass complete across the 45, and it's another 1st down out to the 49-yard line. Making the grab was the slot receiver Manny Ramsey. He gains the market at the 48, but it's still a 1st down, 10 yards on the play.
Yeah, Fort Hays State, I said it in pregame, they're going to come here to play football. They're going to come out and fight, and this is going to be a tough game for the Broncos.
1st down, 10 at the Tiger 48 for Fort Hays State on their opening drive of this game. Dawson, straight drop, looks in the flat to Soto across midfield, and he's going to be hit at the 49-yard line. Good play by Marco DeMio out there after a gain of just 3. It'll be 2nd down, 7.
Now the Broncos can kind of catch their breath a little bit. They have a play where they don't give up a 1st down, and so that's progress for this UCO defense after the first 3 plays, and got to build on that.
Ball on the right hash, right above the C and the UCO logo at midfield. There's a reverse, and it's a reverse pass, and there's a man open, and the pass is underthrown but complete down to the UCO 29-yard line. The pass came from the tight end Leighton Cure, and it was complete to the wide receiver Colin Kreitzer, and it's going to be a gain of 20 yards on the little trick play.
Yeah, going deep into the playbook early are the Tigers, but when you have some different personnel out there, sometimes you got to throw some different wrinkles out there, and Fort Hays State executes on the first one, and now UCO jumps in the neutral zone but gets back.
1st and 10 at the Bronco 29-yard line. Jack Dawson is the quarterback in the shotgun. Adrian Soto, the running back, to his right. Dawson claps his hands, takes a high shotgun snap, pumps right, throws left, setting up the screen, and there's room there for Soto. He's at the 30, at the 25, and good work defensively as he's tackled at the 23-yard line. Kyshawn Murray came over and made the play at the 23, and that would have been a big gainer had he not got him to the turf.
Yeah, good play call by Fort Hays State, good execution. Looked like it was going to go to the right side of the field. They come back to the left of the screen, and as you said, the sophomore out of Del City, Murray, comes over and makes a saving tackle for the Broncos.
2nd down and 4 at the 23-yard line in UCO territory. Opening drive of the game for Fort Hays State. 12-19 to go first quarter, still scoreless. Dawson steps forward to shout direction to his offensive line, takes the snap. It's a run off left guard. Not a whole lot there as Trayvon Craig stacked up Soto, but he stayed on his feet. He bounces outside, and on second effort, he's going to get down inside the 20 and all the way down to the 12-yard line. Adrian Soto was met at about the 19. He gave up a little ground, spun off the tackle, and gets a big gainer, and it's 1st and 10 Fort Hays State.
Yeah, and that's just, the Broncos not completing the tackle. They had him stopped at the line of scrimmage, and they just didn't bring him to the ground.
1st and 10 Fort Hays State at the UCO 12. Ball on the left hash, 2 receivers to the left. Tight end on the, or excuse me, 2 receivers to the right, tight end on that side as well. 1 receiver left. Now the tight end goes in motion. Left, back right again. Dawson takes the snap. Looking, steps up, pressured, steps away from the first man. Not the second man, though. It's Robert Fuentes who takes him to the turf. Back at the 20, or at the 15-yard line. And we do have a helmet lost on the play. No flags, though. It's going to be a loss of 3 on the play.
Big defensive play by Fuentes. That was an offensive lineman for Fort Hays State that lost his helmet, had to come out of the game. So, like you said, no penalty there. That offensive lineman was asking the official, though, for one, as if maybe there were some hands to the face. But it's hard to see everything that happens out there. There's a lot of players on the field.
Second down 13 at the Bronco 15. Now Fort Hays will shift a couple players from right to left. 4 receivers on that left side. Dawson pumps, throws, wheel route left side. Receiver caught it. Was he inbounds? He was not. I believe that was Manny Ramsey on the grab who couldn't keep his foot in bounds. The official was right there on top of it, and it's going to be third down and 13 at the UCO 15.
Yeah, and it was a good call. They replay here on the Jumbotron in Chad Richardson Stadium. Receiver was well out of bounds, almost to the green part of the turf, which is a good yard, 2 yards out of bounds when he caught that ball.
Sorry, side judge Mark Brule right on top of that one. Third and 13 from the 15. Dawson trying to set up screen. UCO reads it, and he has to throw it away. Tried to get Soto out in the flats, and the UCO defender, I think it was Fuentes, was smart enough to realize they let me go for a reason and blew up the whole play.
Yeah, there were 2 of them that didn't pursue up the field. That's a tempting thing for a defensive lineman to do. When you're not blocked, go after that quarterback. But on a screen play, that's what they want you to do. UCO hangs back in coverage and makes it difficult.
Now Parker Janke on to try what'll be a 33-yard field goal from the right hash. The kick is low. It looks good, and it is. So Fort Hays State takes the opening drive down the field. The drive does stall, and they settle for a 33-yard field goal. 10:50 to go first quarter. It's Fort Hays State 3, UCO 0. You're listening to UCO Bronco football on KOKC.
Kickoff is unusual.
It is very unusual. Fort Hays State kicks this one away. It's a short kick that Stevens will be able to return from the 8 out to the 15 to the 20. Looking for a block, bounces outside, 25, runs out of room, and he's taken out of bounds at the 27-yard line. But that's a +2 on field position from a fair catch, and UCO will start at their own 27.
We'll give the tackle on special teams there to Kobe Rome for Fort Hays State, sophomore out of Chandler, Arizona. He's a long way from home.
First and 10.
Nice play on special teams there.
There's a Chandler a lot closer than Arizona here in Edmond, just a little east of here. First and 10 from the 27. Brown in the shotgun, looking left, now back right. Throws in the flat, complete across the 30, and out of bounds at the 32-yard line.
Stephon Brown's pass to number 17.
Adrian Wilson who makes the grab.
A gain of 5 on the play.
And it's second down and 5.
Second and 5.
Yeah, Wilson catches that ball, and he eludes one defender on the sideline with a spin move, but right when he turns around, he gets hammered by Lake Heimerman, linebacker, senior out of Halstead, Kansas, excuse me.
Second and 5. Handoff to Cottrell, running right, looking to bounce outside. He does. He stiff arms a defender, but he's slung out of bounds, and a flag comes in late. I think that extra sling was after he was on the white, and we may have 15 yards added onto this 4-yard Jalen Cottrell run.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm throwing that flag if I'm an official there. Maybe he was further out of bounds than I thought he was, but I kind of give Fort Hays State the benefit of the doubt there. The defender trying to make a play. We'll see what the call is.
Personal foul, late hit out of bounds, number 23 defense. 15 yards will be added into play. Automatic. First down.
David Burge, our referee today, so add 15 to that and puts the ball into Fort Hays State territory at the 49-yard line.
Daniel Howard, the guilty party on the late hit. Daniel's a junior out of Millwood High School here in Oklahoma City, playing for Fort Hays State.
First and 10 at the Tigers' 49. Carney is the fullback. He goes in motion as there's a pitch to Cottrell running left, and not a whole lot there. He gets about 3 yards down to the 46 on the pitch left. And it will set up a second down and 7 for the Broncos. Play was made defensively by Mikel Williams for Fort Hays State. Second down 7 at the Fort Hays State 46-yard line. UCO with their opening drive of the game. Fort Hays State took theirs down for a field goal. So it's 3-0 Fort Hays State. 9:35 to go first quarter. Brown pumps. He's going to keep it, looking to bounce outside right. Not a lot there. Gets back to the line of scrimmage, and we got a flag down at the snap. One of those flags thrown, John, at the snap that usually means offside or an illegal formation. My bet's on illegal formation because I didn't notice anyone offside.
Yeah, I'd like to be in the film session tomorrow when they're reviewing that play. I'll tell you why here after the official lets us know what's going on.
There's no foul for an illegal low block. The block occurred in the tackle box.
Hey, there you go. That was a quick flag for a low block.
Steph Brown kept the ball. Cottrell out of the backfield just stood up, and when the ball was snapped, he just stood up and he just started walking. He was doing nothing. He was just walking. And Steph Brown had to push him out of the way, and that kind of clogged up his running lane. And I just would love to hear what was
almost
happening
if you didn't know
on
what
that
was
play.
going on.
Like,
Yeah,
it was weird.
3rd down and 7 from the Tigers, 46 for the Broncos here. They need to get it to the 39 for a first down. Brown has 3 receivers right, 1 left. Brown looking, throwing over the middle, and it's incomplete. Tried to get it to Madison Ridgeway, and it was just out of the reach of his right paw. And it's going to be 4th down, and the Broncos will punt it away on their opening drive.
Yeah, not the opening drive that the Broncos wanted or have seen the last couple weeks on the football field, taking it into the end zone. But, again, this is different competition, and UCO is going to have to play the field position game here and hope that their defense can come out and get them the ball back.
David Vargas has been one of the best in the country at putting punts down inside the 20. We'll see what he can do here. It's a high end-over-end kick. Fair catch called for, and the ball's dropped. It's loose on the turf, and I think Peyton Hunt, the long snapper's got it. The same thing happened against Northwest Missouri State, and Peyton Hunt's got himself another fumble recovery, and the Broncos have a 1st and goal.
I said it against Northwest Missouri State, Todd. Since doing these games since 2009, I can't recall punter dropping the football, and we've seen it twice this season.
On a fair catch.
Yeah, on fair catches.
Ruling on the
And
field, the
UCO
kick was muffed.
playing the field position game, like I said, and winning in a big way with that mistake right there by Fort Hays State.
It was Alex Schrimmer who couldn't bring it in, so it's 1st and goal for the Broncos at the 9 after the Fort Hays State mistake. Kemper is the running back to the left of Steph Brown in the backfield. 3 receivers left on the wide side of the field from the right hash. Hand off to Kemper, running right. Turns it up at the 8, gets to about the 7, and that's it. 2 yards on the play as he is driven to the turf well after the whistle. I think his feet got tangled up there.
Kemper on the carry for a gain of 2.
Gavin Spruill in there on the tackle for Fort Hays State. 2 yards, 2nd down and goal from the 7.
I like Kemper running the football. He's an athletic kid. He's not a huge kid, though. He's got to have a little bit of space, but when he does, he can do some damage.
Brown now looking to the sideline again. Same formation, 3 receivers left. This time Brown throws in the flat. Oh, that ball's intercepted. The defensive lineman jumped up and picked that one off, and he's running with only Steph Brown behind him. Brown catches up to him, but all the way down at the UCO 34-yard line. What an athletic play from the Fort Hays State defensive lineman to intercept that one. That was Mikkel Williams. He's a linebacker, but he was lined up as a defensive end, and he jumped in the air and made a great play, and now Fort Hays State gets it right back.
Big time play out of a defensive end. Just anticipated that little pass out of the backfield by Steph Brown, jumped up and took it, and the happiest person down there on the football field is that punt returner that fumbled that ball. He went over to Williams, I'm sure, and gave him a big hug and said, "Thanks, man. You can have my biscuit in the post-game meal."
8:05 to go, first quarter. 1st and 10, Fort Hays State at the Broncos 34. 3-0 Fort Hays State with the lead. Jack Dawson, the Fort Hays State quarterback, in the shotgun with Adrian Soto, the running back, to his right. It's a handoff to Soto, running off left guard. Nice push from the offensive line as that play gains from the 34 all the way down to the 30. Not really one player in particular on the tackle. He just kind of ran into the wall, and eventually the wall fell over on top of him.
Yeah, it was just a battle of 2 fronts, the offensive line and the defensive line. They were all in there. Fort Hays got a pretty good push, able to pick up a few yards.
2nd down, 6 from the Broncos 30. Dawson working with 2 receivers to his left, 1 to his right, tight end right as well. Dawson pumps, throws right side, and that's overthrown and incomplete. Great coverage from the Broncos' Kyshawn Murray Jr. out there, as the pass was intended for Manny Ramsey, but Murray had a better chance of catching that one. 3rd down, 7 coming up.
Say hey to Carol Jones says, shout out from Bo Phelps' Aunt Carol, watching the Wolverines and Chos at the same time. Go Blue and Roll Chos. She emailed us at ucoradio@gmail.com, and we want to hear from all of you out there throughout the game.
3rd down, 6 officially from the 30. Need to get it to the 24. Broncos blitz. Dawson throws quick. Pass is complete, and Ramsey gets free, and he's going to go for a touchdown. A quick slant route to Manny Ramsey, the defender. It looked like maybe lost his footing, and there was no help on the back end, and Fort Hays State strikes with the touchdown pass. 30 yards.
Kyshawn Murray was kind of coming in to make the tackle, and he just missed him. I mean, there's really no better explanation than that. He just ran right by the receiver, maybe misjudged the angle the receiver was going to take, and Fort Hays State makes UCO pay for the interception by putting the ball in the end zone and taking this big early lead.
Janke on for the extra point. The snap and hold are good. The kick is away, and it's good as well. 7:11 to go, first quarter, 10-0. Fort Hays State jumps out to the early lead. You're listening to UCO Bronco football on KOKC. And when they both make big plays back-to-back, right? By the way, you mentioned UCOradio@gmail.com, how you can contact us here. That is for you Fort Hays State fans listening as well. If you want to shout out or you want to give a shout out to one of yours that's out there playing today, UCOradio@gmail.com. Kobe Stevens takes the kickoff at the goal line. He'll return it out to the 15, to the 20. Cuts to his left, 25, and out to the 26. Boy, it looked like he had a seam to maybe break that one, but an ankle tackle takes him down at the 26. And I like what Kobe Stevens has been able to do on kick return this year, John.
Yeah, good athlete, quick feet, and does a pretty good job of finding the seam. And may have had an even bigger return right there if it weren't for Cade Melvin, who came in and made that ankle tackle, as you said.
1st and 10, UCO from their own 25. Steph Brown coming off that interception, working out of the gun. Peyton Scott is the running back. 2 receivers each side. Low snap, fakes the handoff. Brown looking, throwing. Has Ridgeway over the middle, 45-50, into Tigers territory and down to the 47-yard line. Steph Brown to Madison Ridgeway for 27 yards and a first down.
Yeah, and 2 or 3 offensive linemen complaining to the referee after the play in the backfield. I would assume that the Fort Hays State defender was up to some shenanigans, so we'll see if their complaints are watched and monitored.
1st down and 10 at the Fort Hays State 47. Empty backfield for Brown. Quarterback draw, nothing doing. He's going to be hit and dropped at midfield. As coming over to make the play that time for Fort Hays State was big Jason Wallace from Sugar Hill, Georgia. Loss of 3 on the play. In fact, we'll call a loss of 4.
6'4" and 320 pounds is Wallace. And he's the right defensive tackle, and he was taking on the right guard. He saw the hole open up over the other side of the line, and he just got across the face of the right guard and into that hole to prevent Steph Brown from being able to take it up the field.
2nd and 14, Broncos at their own 49. Throwing the flat to Oscar Hammond. Hammond gets a block, runs over a man down into Tigers territory, and he gains back the 4 yards lost on 1st down, plus 1 more. Takes it down to the Tigers 46, and it'll be 3rd down and 9.
Yeah, and all that said, it's still 3rd and 9. The Broncos are going to have to really execute here to convert this 1st down. You don't want this game to get away from you from a momentum standpoint. You got to keep the offense on the field, move the chains.
3rd and 9 at the Tigers 46. Brown takes the snap, straight drop, has plenty of time, drops it off in the flat to Peyton Scott. Scott at the 45, at the 41, still on his feet, pumps his feet to the 40-yard line. Be an interesting decision here, 4th down and 3 at the Fort Hays State 40.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a 57-yard field goal, so you either got to try to punt it and bury him deep or go for it here. Fort Hays State has shown the ability to move the football, but I don't see UCO bringing their punt team on the field, so Coach Dorrell's going to try and convert this one.
At least going to show like they're going to go for it here on 4th down and 3 from the Fort Hays State 40. From the right hash, 3 receivers left, tight end right. Running back is Kemper to the left of Brown. Pitch to Kemper, and he's got room outside left to the 40. Lowers his head and has the 1st down to the 35-yard line. Just a numbers game, got outside of the defense, and Kemper gains 5 on a 4th and 3.
Yeah, there were 3 Fort Hays State coaches on that sideline right there by the line to gain who pointed, and they wanted a hold, and I saw the hold. The official didn't call it. UCO gets the 1st down. Listen, it ebbs and it flows throughout a football game, and you'll hear us complain about non-calls, but you'll hear us let you know when we got away with one.
First down handoff, and that's Antonio Smith Jr. on the carry, who gets down inside the 35 to the 33. Really good to see him back in the lineup after the scary injury he had 3 weeks ago in Joplin.
Yeah, had to be
4 weeks ago, I guess.
Had to be stretchered off the field and taken to a local medical facility by way of ambulance. So not a good situation, but fortunate that he is recovered, and maybe some of those precautionary things were, necessary, but he's good.
Second down and 8. There's a pass to Delso in the flat. Delso makes the grab and gets down inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. So a 10-yard gain for Delso, and it's a first down.
Nice throw by Brown. Just fantastic job by this UCO offense of converting that first down and then moving the ball afterwards, moving the chains again. Getting close to the red zone. Got to stay in this ball game, put some points on the board.
First and 10 at the 24. Man in motion is Carney. There's a pitch to Smith, running outside right at the 15, at the 10. He lowers his head. It's going to be a first and goal Broncos as he's pushed out of bounds at the 8-yard line.
Is there a flag on the field? Yes, there is.
Oh, there it is. I didn't see it on the near side here.
I saw a Fort Hays State player pointing backwards like this is coming back. And it is hard to see, but it's right there on about the 23-yard line.
Holding. Number 35, offense. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Replay first down.
And that's Andrew Carney, the fullback, who got out there on the edge.
Well, and when UCO converted the fourth down, it was a back that was holding. And so you wonder, those coaches pointed it out, it was noted, and then looked for, when it was the same situation later on.
Now, the holding did happen downfield, so technically this is a 1st and 19 back at the 33. Brown, play action, setting up a screen, has Cottrell left side. Cottrell needs a block, gets it to the 30, 25. Oh, good ankle tackle at the 21-yard line as Cottrell had room, but a great job by Daniel Howard to come up and make the play, as you mentioned earlier, from Millwood High School.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because we had blockers there to block Howard. They just didn't execute. And you block him, and that thing might go for a long ways, maybe for some for some payoff in the end zone. But didn't get the block executed there on Howard. He makes the play.
Still a gain of 11 to set up a second down and 8. 2:45 to go first quarter. 10-0 Fort Hays State. Broncos on the move. Terrell Davis in motion, gets a pitch, running to his left. That little pop pass, and he gains inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. Good second effort to get an extra yard there for Davis. 4 yards on the play. So 2nd and 8, he chopped it in half. We'll have 3rd and 4 coming up.
Makes it a manageable third down, and then you're in field goal territory with a very good field goal kicker, so you got to feel good about the field position here, but you really feel good if you convert this third down and either get the first or put the ball in the end zone.
3rd down and 4 at the Fort Hays State 18-yard line. The 14 is the line to gain. McGee goes in motion. There's a pitch to Kemper, looking to get outside left. Gets a block from McGee, lowers his head, and he's a yard short. Good open field tackle that time. I believe that was Lake Heimerman over there on the play. And it's going to be 4th down and 1 at the 15. And the Broncos, I think, are going to go for it here.
A yard short of the line to gain.
Here comes a couple extra tight ends in the game. Gavin Wilson's in the game. Oscar Hammond's in the game. Carney's back in the backfield. I formation. Kemper is the I back. 4th and 1 from the Fort Hays State 15. Steph Brown under center. Man in motion. Handoff to the fullback Carney, and he's got the first down. Dives it off left guard for 3 yards down to the 12, and it's 1st and 10 Broncos.
I mean, I feel like if you watched UCO football this year, you knew that play. That was the play that was coming, but the Tigers just couldn't stop it. It's a gutsy call. I mean, you've got a chance to probably get an automatic 3 and make it a 1-score ball game and get some points on the board. But Coach Doro gambles on his offense, and it pays off.
Officially, it's a 2-yard gain from the 15 to the 13, but he only needed 1, so it's 1st and 10. Shotgun formation, Steph Brown, pistol, hands it off to Kemper, running left. Kemper looking to bounce outside, gets inside the 10, riding a tackle down to about the 8 or 9 yard line. Gains about 5 on first down to set up a 2nd and 5. Under a minute to go here, first quarter, still 10-0 Fort Hays State with the lead.
I think one of my favorite things in football is when a player offers to help a player on the other team up and the other player declines the offer and gets up by themselves. I like it. And it goes on with every team on both sides. Like, it's just a pride thing. And just witnessed that after the first down play.
Ball was marked at the 9, so 2nd down and 6 from the 9. Here's a handoff to Antonio Smith on a little counter running left, and not a whole lot there. Gains a couple down to the 7, maybe 1. Now they'll mark it at the 8, so it's a 1-yard gain, and it's going to be 3rd down and 5 from the 8. The Broncos on a long drive that's going to start, or continue, I should say, in the second quarter, because the first quarter will tick away after 1. 10-0 Fort Hays State with the lead. The Broncos have converted 2 4th downs on this drive, and they've got a big 3rd down and 5 coming up when we start quarter number 2. After 1, it's Fort Hays State 10, UCO 0. You're listening to UCO Bronco football on KOKC. Stadium in Edmond, Oklahoma. Todd Lisenby, John Fitzgerald, Josh Conant in studio for us. First quarter stats for you. Total yards 94 for Fort Hays State, 90 for UCO, 81 passing yards for the Broncos, 9 on the ground on 11 rushes. Broncos got to get some ground game going. 69 through the air for Fort Hays State, 25 on the ground on 4 carries. The scoring open on a Parker Jenke 32-yard field goal, and then Manny Ramsey caught a 30-yard touchdown pass from Jack Dawson. But UCO has the ball 3rd down and 5 at the Fort Hays State 8-yard line as we start this second quarter.
I want to say hello to Marjorie Thomas, who emailed us and said, "Let's go Broncos." And if you're wondering, wait, how does Marjorie Thomas get to email them and talk to them? You can too. UCOradio@gmail.com. We love to hear from Bronco fans. We love to hear from Fort Hays State fans. We love to hear from football fans or just people who want to email us and talk about any old thing. We'll give you a shout out. UCOradio@gmail.com.
MIAA scores for you at halftime now. Emporia State up 24-14 on Nebraska Kearney. Second quarter, Central Mo 10-7 up on Missouri Southern. And Pitt State up early 14-0 on Lincoln as well. Also Northwest Missouri State 16-3 second quarter lead on Washburn. Brown on 3rd down, rolling left and throwing, and the pass is incomplete through the hands of the intended receiver Terrell Davis, and it's going to be 4th down, and the Broncos are going to have to settle for a field goal attempt.
Yeah, this one, not 4th and 1 like the previous one they went for and got. You got to get some points out of this drive. You can't come up empty, so I think Coach Doyle doing the smart thing here and putting Quevedo on the field to try and get 3 points for the Broncos.
25-yarder, ball's just inside the left hash mark, so a little bit of an angle to it. Snap, hold, both good. The kick is on the way. It's got plenty of leg. It lands up on the party balcony on the Sports Performance Center, and it's right down the middle. 14:51 to go first half. The Broncos are on the board, but Fort Hays State still leads 10-3. You're listening to UCO Bronco football on KOKC. Nicky Quevedo has it on the tee. Schrimmer and Brown are back for Fort Hays State to receive the kickoff. It's in the direction of Schrimmer, and Schrimmer backpedaling will field that one 9 yards deep and take a knee, and Fort Hays State will start at the 25-yard line. Mention if you want to get in touch with us here in the booth, UCOradio@gmail.com. Also want to remind you, we'll be back at it next Saturday as well on the road in Topeka, Kansas. If you're listening here in Oklahoma City on KOKC, 95.3 FM and 1520 AM for the Broncos and the Ichabods next Saturday at 1 o'clock.
Ichabod's having a tough time with Northwest Missouri State right now on the road in Maryville, trailing 16-3 in the second quarter.
First down and 10 at the 25 as Dawson hands it to Soto, running left, finds room out across the 30. He is hit hard and taken to the turf. Jonathan Mosley came up and made a big hit on him, but not before he gained 5 yards to the 30.
UCO player lost his helmet over there on the Fort Hays State sideline. Fort Hays player picked it up and threw it off into the Fort Hays State sideline. I love the gamesmanship and the little intricacies that go on down on the field. I wish we were able to mic them up.
Second down and 5. I don't think the FCC would allow some of it. Broncos nearly jump. No flag. There's a pass in the flat. Right side, and that's a first down catch made out across the 35 to the 36. And by the way, in at quarterback is Ethan Forrester for Fort Hays State. That's a gain of 5 on the play. on the pass to Leighton Cure. Not sure if there was an injury to Jack Dawson, but Forster is in there if this was a planned thing.
Yeah, Fort Hays State's offense hasn't really been struggling today, right? Quarterback certainly hasn't made any bad decisions or bad plays, so we'll keep an eye on that.
Cure goes in motion right, then back left again. Forster takes the snap, hands it to Soto, running left, has room across the 35 to the 38-yard line. Make that the 39, 4 yards on first down before Chase Faber takes him to the turf. We'll bring up a 2nd down and 6. You don't see many teams with as many long-haired players as Fort Hays State has, and Chance Fuller, who's hurt, also has long hair. But Forster and Soto got a couple of mops back there in the backfield, don't they?
I was just thinking that you don't often see a running back with really long hair. Like, it's usually like a DB, or in this league it's a quarterback here, or Emporia's last year, but he's got the flowing locks for sure.
Forster on first down fakes a handoff underneath. It's a little pitch pass, a little shovel pass underneath to the tight end. I believe that's Cure on the catch. It is, and he's going to gain across the 40 to the 42. Is good read that time. I think that was Faber who came up and made the play for the Broncos.
A gain of 3 on the play.
So the ball sits at the 42. It's 3rd down and 3. The 45 is the line to gain. It's 3rd down and a short 3. The ball actually is about the 32 and a half. Forster in the gun. Soto goes in motion out of the backfield. It's a quarterback run, and Forster has room across midfield, bangs off a tackle, still on his feet all the way down to the UCO 41-yard line. Good run from the quarterback, Ethan Forrester. He took a big hit at the 50 and gained 9 yards after contact, and it's a first down.
Yeah, I don't know how the Broncos didn't get it. I mean, he would have had the first down regardless, but they don't know how they didn't get him down on that initial hit. He took a big hit to the head on the final tackle, too, but he popped right up and he's feeling pretty good.
1st and 10 at the UCO 41. Forrester looking to the sidelines with Soto to his right. Now Soto moves to his left. Takes the snap, hands to Soto, running right, and he's hit in the hole by Jason Harris after a 1-yard gain to the 40. Good play from Jason Harris, the junior linebacker out of Tulsa. And it'll be 2nd down and 9.
Harris having a pretty good season for the Broncos. Of course, his Mount Rushmore play, at least the number 1 on his Mount Rushmore play this year, was that fumble recovery for a touchdown against Northwest Missouri State. What a huge play that was. And Harris makes a nice tackle there.
2nd down 9 at the 40. Forrester fakes the handoff to Soto, throws it in the flat right side, and the Broncos read this one. Kobe Stevens comes in to make the play. He lost his helmet in the process as Dawson Brown made the grab. He's going to lose all the way back to the 43-yard line. 3-yard loss will set up a 3rd and 12.
Yeah, Coach Doral is getting into Kobe Stevens on the sideline over here because of his celebration after the tackle. It was a big play, but he lost his helmet, and I think celebrations can look worse when you don't have your helmet on because you can see the facial expressions and things like that. It may entice the officials to throw a flag a little easier, so Coach Doral coaching him up as he comes off the field. 3rd
down and 12 at the UCO 43. Forrester looking, has time, hit as he throws, complete to Cure at the 35. He's going to be about 2 yards short. He's down at the 33-yard line. It'll set up a 4th down and 2 as, again, Ethan Forrester took a big hit right as he threw that one.
And Hayes is not bringing their punter on the field. So they look like they're going to line up to go for it. Now, they have gone hard count against the Broncos several times today, and the Broncos have jumped in the neutral zone. They've gotten back because Hayes didn't snap the football, but I would watch for a hard count right here.
4th down 2 at the Broncos 33-yard line. Tight end goes under center, tries to hard count, and now Fort Hays State moves. Cale Cormani, the tight end, came under center as if he was going to quarterback sneak it, and he hard counted. He didn't take a snap. He went to do it a second time.
5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
And as our referee tells us, David Burge, it's a 5-yard penalty on the Tigers, and now we'll see what they do. It's out of field goal range. We'll see if they punt it here.
After the penalty, the ball is marked at the 38-yard line.
The whole team is leaving the field, so it looks like they're bringing the punt team on.
So it's now 4th down 7. And we will see the punt team here.
It is a pretty good trick play if you trick your own players, right?
That's true. Yeah, that is true.
Something.
Ethan Sawson is the punter.
But they do have 2 receivers to the left, so.
Richards and Dangerfield are the deep men for UCO. Sawson, left-footed line drive kick. It's low. It bounces at the 3, and it's into the end zone for the ball hit a UCO player, so it was still live, but luckily it went out the back of the end zone. Man, that could have been dangerous. Jalik Lewis was down there blocking. The ball hit him on the shoulder, a yard deep in the end zone, but that's still a live ball. And luckily for them, it went out of the back of the end zone, and the Broncos avoid disaster, and they'll have it at the 20-yard line. Timeout on the field. We'll take it with them. Valley State, number 1, Ferris State. And right now, that game is living up to the billing. In the fourth quarter, it is 22-21, Grand Valley State leading in that one.
What a game, those teams up there.
2 really good D2 football programs, too.
From their own 20-yard line, first and 10
Broncos from the left hash. I formation on first down. Carney is the fullback. Cottrell is the tailback. Brown fakes a handoff to Cottrell. It's a play-action pass. He's got Oscar Hammond wide open. Hammond makes a grab at the 35-30, 25-20. No one's going to catch him. Steph Brown laid it up to a wide-open Oscar Hammond, and the Broncos go 80 yards and are an extra point away from tying this one up.
Complete bust on Fort Hays State at times before they realized where Hammond was. He takes that ball to the house. Beautiful ball thrown by Steph Brown. And just like that, we are 1-2 away from a tied game, and UCO has taken the momentum back in this contest.
I don't know how he was wide open, but it was obvious right from the get-go that he was running all by himself. And now Nicky Cavedo can knock this one through to make it a tie ball game. Snap and hold are both good. Peyton Hunt on the snap, Bo Phelps on the hold, and Nicky Cavedo knocks it through. 9:46 to go first half. The Broncos have come back to tie this one up. It's 10-10. You're listening to UCO Bronco football on KOKC.
Presented by Edmund Electric.
Nicky Cavedo, short kickoff, trying to find an open area. The ball bounces. It's picked up at the 20-yard line. And running out to the 24 to the 25 is Schremer. With a perfect kick there from Cavedo. Doesn't hurt you because a fair catch would have put the ball at the 25 anyway, and you give your team a chance to go down and recover that one. But luckily for Fort Hays State, Alex Schremer got up to it, and the Tigers will have it first and 10 at the 25.
Yeah, I like it. Doing something a little bit different. You know, you're expecting the deep ball every time, and this gives your team a chance to maybe catch someone up front for Fort Hays sleeping. Fortunately for the Tigers, that did not occur. And like you said, fortunately for the Broncos, it's basically a touchback.
I can tell you this much. Adam Dorrell speaks very highly of both David Vargas and Nicky Cavedo. I don't think there's much he's afraid to ask them to do, his punter and kicker. First and 10. Dawson back in at quarterback for Fort Hays State. Quarterback draw right up the middle. Michael Slater makes the tackle, but it's a gain of 2 from the 25 up to the 27. Slater could only get one arm on him and just kind of fall on top of Dawson as his momentum carried him forward for a 2-yard gain.
The way Fort Hays State's offense has moved the ball today, we'll take a 2-yard gain, and it's a great play by Slater up front.
Still not 100% sure why Dawson came out last series, but he's back in here. Low snap on second down, hands it to Soto right up the middle, and again the Broncos are right on top of it. Slater comes in to clean that one up. The first one there was Marlo Hughes. It's a gain of 1. And it'll be a 3rd down and 7 from the 28 for the Tigers.
I don't know if Hughes just read it quick or if it was a designed blitz right up the middle, but he came firing in there from his defensive back position to make that first contact with the run.
3rd and 7 from the right hash. 3 receivers left, 1 right. Soto is the running back to the right of Jack Dawson in the shotgun. Claps his hands a couple times, gets a snap. Broncos bring 5, pass in the flat, caught, but immediate tackle is made out at the 33-yard line. I believe that was Vaughn Deary out there that made the play. And it's going to be 4th down and 2, and Fort Hays State will punt it away.
Yeah, you can't get too risky right here in your own territory with UCO having all the momentum. So Fort Hays State brings that punt team back on.
Raymond McGuire on the play for the Broncos. Raymond McGuire, another one of those double numbers. You love that, John. 4th down and 2. We love the double numbers when they make plays for the Broncos, though. 4th and 2 at the 33. And Sawson will punt it away. The left-footed punter kicks this a low line drive kick. It is returnable. It's going to take a bounce, though, in front of the returnman and just die. And it's down at the 33-yard line. So that's a punt of 34 yards with no return. We got a couple players having to be separated back near the original line of scrimmage. And the Broncos will have it 1st and 10 after that 34-yard punt.
Those ridiculous just chest bump, like you do something. And the referee just tried to break it up. And that was a big boy for Fort Hays State getting after it out there. But,
by the way, Fort Hays State might have one of the biggest boys I've seen all year. Number 73, Christopher Strouder, their offensive lineman, 6'7", 375.
it's a lot of...
He's a big boy.
Yeah, he probably gets his own seat on the bus.
Yeah, no doubt. 1st and 10 at the 28. Brown in the gun. Takes a snap, fakes a handoff. Pressured, looking, throwing, floating, left side, and the pass is incomplete. Had Diego Richards down there, but Richards couldn't run underneath of that one. Correction, that was Dangerfield who couldn't run underneath of that one, and it'll be 2nd and 10.
All the pursuit was coming from behind Stephon Brown, and he was in a lot of danger there, but I feel like he could have just tucked that thing and ran with it and gotten a serious amount of yardage for the Broncos.
2nd down and 10 from the 28. 7:35 to go here in the second quarter. Halfway through this second quarter. 7:35 left till halftime. Brown with 2 receivers to his left and a couple tight ends. Hands off to Peyton Scott, running right. Scott to the 30. There's a flag down on the play as Scott will get out to the 32-yard line before he's dragged to the turf by Daniel Howard. It's a gain of 4, but this one's going to come back for a hold.
Yeah, I believe it was right in the middle of the line of scrimmage there. Thought they were going to throw that flag.
Holding. Number 70 offense. 10-yard penalty. Replay 2nd down.
Robert Givens, the guilty party.
Colin Crispin Gorley, the defensive lineman for Fort Hays State, was the one being held. He's also the one that was in the shenanigans face-off after the punt a couple plays ago. So that's a big penalty for the Broncos. Backs them up inside the 20-yard line.
Moves it back to the 18. It's now 2nd down and 20 for UCO. Empty backfield for Steph Brown. He's got a tight end, and his running back, Kemper, is split out right. Here's a pass underneath to Kemper, a little underneath shovel, and Kemper finds room across the 30 to the 34. Interesting play design. It's almost that old school underneath trap, but technically it's a pass, and it gains 17 yards.
I thought it was a 3-man weave.
That's what it looked like. And we got Bob Hoffman, the UCO basketball coach, coming up at halftime. That looks like something he would coach there, a little 3-man weave.
He'd probably coach it better. But listen, the ball carrier kid, when he gets the ball and gets some space, he's an athletic kid and he can run. It's a good-looking play. Get some yardage back for the Broncos.
3rd down and 3 at the 35. Brown pitches it left side to Kemper, looking to bust this one upfield, and he turns it up at the 38 and gets the 1st down to the 40. Nasir Kemper that time, instead of getting outside of the defense, found a seam and turned it up for 5 yards.
Yeah, and that's all the Broncos needed, to move those chains and get the ball closer to midfield after that big holding penalty. It's a big response by this UCO offense to get the 1st down and keep this drive alive.
Those are the type of penalties, John, that early in the season the Broncos couldn't fight their way out of.
Absolutely not.
1st and 10 at the 40 for UCO. Coming up on 6 minutes to play first half. Still 10-10 in this one. Brown fakes a handoff and drops the throw. Has all day. Rolls to his right now. Still looking, and just throws it away. Good coverage from Fort Hays State. Steph Brown got hit as he went to the turf by Jeremiah Jackson, wanted a flag, but it's going to be second down and 10.
Second down and 10.
Jeremiah Jackson, not a small guy himself, out there for the Fort Hays State defense. 6'7", 220 pounds. He's taller than Steph Brown, and Steph Brown's pretty tall.
Yeah. Second down 10 at the 40. Jackson, a guy who Adam Dorrell singled out as someone to watch for this Fort Hays defense. Brown hands to running back. Cottrell running left, looking to bounce outside. Gets to the 45 up near midfield. He lowers his head, and it'll depend on the spot. They give him the 50, so it's a first down. 10 yards on the run for Jalen Cottrell. And the Broncos move it to midfield.
Yeah, good run by Cottrell. He just put his head down right there at the end and got that extra push. And UCO moves it into Fort Hays State territory, at least the nose of the football is. The Broncos are 50 yards from pay dirt.
5:35 to go first half. Broncos have it at midfield on the left hash. McGee in motion from left to right. That puts 4 receivers on the right side, 1 on the left, empty backfield. 4-man rush as Brown looks, throws over the middle. Behind Madison Ridgeway, but he makes a great grab inside the 35 to the 32-yard line.
Ridgeway had to really concentrate to come back and catch that ball. And he bobbled it a little bit, but managed to bring it in. And that's a huge offensive play for the Broncos.
18 yards. Broncos go fast after the first down. Brown takes the snap and hands up the middle to Cottrell. Cottrell runs into a defender. That's Heimerman, who got him at the 31-yard line after a gain of 1. It was weird that time in going fast. Brown and Cottrell tripped over each other's feet on the handoff. I think that affected the run a little bit.
Yeah, Cottrell stumbled, but I don't know that that play was destined for greatness. As you said, Heimerman comes in there and makes the hit from the front side, and then Jason Wallace, the 320-pound defensive lineman, hits the belly-to-back suplex, takes him back for the tackle.
Second down and 9 at the 31. Brown sends a man in motion. That's Kemper. Brown looks, throws over the middle, has a man wide open. It's Terrell Davis inside the 5 to the 3-yard line. Broncos killing the Tigers with passes over the middle. This one is Terrell Davis for 28 yards, and it's first and goal.
Through the binoculars, I was just watching Steph. Kemper was wide open in the flat out of the backfield, and I kept thinking, why didn't he just throw it to him? Why didn't he just throw it to him? Brown had better ideas.
Speaking of Kemper, here's a handoff to Kemper, left side, and Nasir Kemper's into the end zone for a Bronco touchdown. From 3 yards out, Nasir Kemper dives in, and UCO has their first lead of the afternoon with 4:15 to go in the first half. It's 16-10 Broncos.
It took a minute for the Broncos to come alive here, this early kickoff. You know, they haven't played a game for 10 days, so maybe they were a little bit rusty too, but the Broncos have taken this game over, at least at this point.
Nicky Cavedo is on for the extra point. Peyton Hunt will snap it. Bo Phelps will hold it. The kick looked like it got blocked. It was blocked, partially blocked and no good. So the Broncos lead is 16-10 with 4:15 to go in the first half. You're listening to UCO Bronco football on KOKC.
UCO 16.
To Chad Richardson Stadium, 4:15 to go first half. Extra point blocked, but the Broncos do take the lead on a 3-yard run for Nasir Kemper. It's 16-10 UCO with 4:15 to go here in this first half. Nicky Cavedo has it on the tee to boot it away. Schrimmer and Brown are deep for the Tigers, and Schrimmer will catch this one about 8 yards deep and take a knee right above the first O in Broncos, right in front of the Sports Performance Center, and it'll be 1st and 10, Fort Hays State at the 25.
Just a reminder, you can email us here in the booth, ucoradio@gmail.com. We'd love to give you a shout-out. Even you Fort Hays State Tiger fans, give us a shout. We know you're probably watching the stream and hearing our call as you're enjoying the game. Let us know where you're listening from, and we'll say hey.
Well, that UCO win over Emporia back in week 2 is looking better and better. Emporia's up 34-14 at Nebraska Kearney halfway through the third quarter there. We'll get you some other scores from around the MIAA after this first down play for Fort Hays State. Dawson is the quarterback. Sends his tight end Cure in motion to the right, hand off to Soto, looking to bounce outside, and there was absolutely nothing there. He was chased down from behind by Zane Adams, who came from the opposite defensive end position, but tackle him after a gain of none.
you mentioned that Emporia Kearney game. I mean, I think the most shocking game of the year so far in the MIAA was the Broncos defeating Northwest Missouri State. But I think this one is more shocking. I mean, with the context, with the rear view that we have, Emporia State handling Nebraska Kearney is absolutely shocking.
2nd down and 10 after no gain on 1st down. Dawson throwing left side. Pass is complete through a tight window. Got it out there to Calvin Stapp, who made the grab. It's going to be a gain of 12 on the play. Some other scores, 10-7. Central Mo at halftime leads Missouri Southern. Northwest Missouri State up 23-10 on Washburn. That game also at halftime. And then Pitt State 21-3 over Lincoln. That game late 2nd quarter.
Central was
1st down and 10. Soto, handoff, hitting the backfield, bounces off a tackle, gets across the 40 to the 42. Boy, Connor Johnson looked like he had him dead to rights, and he's able to somehow gain 6 yards. A player loses his helmet on the play. We'll call it a 5-yard gain from the 37 up to the 42.
If Central Missouri can hang on and beat Missouri Southern, that, as weird as it sounds with the history of the conference, that'd be a pretty big upset based on what they've both been able to accomplish this season so far.
Same record as the two teams today. Central Mo's the 1-5 team. Missouri Southern's the 4-2 team. 2nd down and 5 at the 42-yard line. Hand off to Soto, running right, bounces outside to the 45 to the 46-yard line. Connor Johnson in on the play for the Broncos. Calvin Hutchings in there as well. Gain of 4 on the play. 3rd down and 1 for Fort Hays State. 2:35 to go. The Tigers still have 3 timeouts as the clock is running on a 3rd and 1 from their own 46-yard line. Soto moves from the left to the right side of the quarterback, Dawson. Handoff Soto right up the middle, and he got the 1 yard he needed plus 1 more. He gains up to the 48-yard line. 2 yards on the play, so it's 1st and 10 for Fort Hays State.
I've been impressed with Soto today. He runs hard. And just when you think you've got him, and I mean, not necessarily that play, that was just a little dive where we ankle tackled him at the line of scrimmage, but just when you think you've got him, you don't. And Jordan LeVue got him for UCO that time, but Fort Hays State still gets the 1st down. 1st
and 10 at the 48-yard line. Dawson fakes a handoff. Play action, floats one over the middle, and it's incomplete. There was no chance his receiver was going to catch that one. He's fortunate that was so overthrown because there were about 3 different Broncos there that could have made a play on him. Marcellus Crutchfield, the intended receiver. It'll be 2nd and 10.
And Hunter Largent puts the quarterback down after he throws the ball, but I don't think it was really a hit. I think it was just more like when you run into Hunter Largent and you fall over.
When Hunter Largent runs towards you, I think you fall over in fright. He's a big old boy. 2nd down and 10 at the 48. Dawson claps his hands and takes the shotgun snap. Pumps, throws in the flat left side, complete to the 47 in Bronco territory and down to the 45. Flag comes in around where the tackle was and might have a face mask here on the Broncos.
Well, we did have a defender that missed the tackle and he was reached out with one arm. So if he got a piece of, I mean, that seems like
right in the area, right?
Face mask on there. Number 37 defense. 15 yards. We had it into the play. Automatic. 1st down.
It's Blake Barone, the guilty party.
Referee calling penalties like a PA announcer out there.
15-yard face mask penalty. Moves the ball down to the 30. And the Tigers are in business here with 1:40 to go 1st half. Trailing 16-10. Dawson claps his hands and sends a man in motion. Fakes the underneath handoff. Steps up, pressured, hit and dropped. Robert Fuentes with another sack. This one's a 1 yard loss from the 30 back to the 31, and the Tigers are going to use their 1st timeout of the 1st half. We'll take it with them. 1:33 to go 1st half. UCO 16, Fort Hays State 10. You're listening to UCO Bronco football on KOKC. To Chad Richardson Stadium, 2nd and 11 for Fort Hays State after the Robert Fuentes sack at the UCO 31-yard line out of the timeout. 1:33 to go 1st half. And we've got motion out of the timeout on the Tigers. That is the cardinal sin. What Fort Hays State just did there, a 5-yard penalty out of the timeout, will move the ball back to the 36. And it'll now be 2nd down and 16.
Those penalties right there are why I could never coach football. That would drive me nuts. Come out and get a false start after a timeout is just inattention to detail.
Second down, 16 now from the 36. Dawson has Soto to his left. Cure, the tight end, goes in motion right, then back left again. Dawson looking, steps up out of pressure. Now to his left, rolling. He's going to run with it, and he's going to get what he can, which is about 2 or 3 yards before he runs out of bounds into the Fort Hays bench and stops the clock with 1:25 to go. 3-yard gain on the play, so it's 3rd and 13 at the 33.
Gain of 3 on the play.
We haven't seen a lot of pressure on the quarterback today, and of course we saw Fuentes get the sack early, a few plays ago. But if ever there was a time, right here would be a good time for that defensive line to get a good surge and put pressure on this Fort Hays State quarterback.
20-yard line is where the Tigers need to get it to. 3rd down and 13. Soto in motion out of the backfield. Broncos bring 4. Dawson steps up, throws, and the pass short, hops into Ramsey at the 20-yard line. Had he caught it, it would have been a first down, but it bounced into him, and it's incomplete. It'll be 4th down, and this is a 50-yard field goal. So I would imagine they're going to go for it here on 4th down, and now the Broncos, if you can get a stop, still have all 3 of their timeouts left with 1:19 to go in the half.
Yeah, plenty of time, and if they can just send Oscar Hammond down the field, maybe Fort Hays might get the ball back.
I don't think you'll get that wide open twice today, John.
It's
4th and 13. Fort Hays with the offense out on the field. Broncos look to be bringing 4. 3 receivers for Dawson as he rolls right. Dawson throws one deep down the field, and that ball's intercepted. Kobe Stevens has it at the 10, at the 15, and he's out of bounds short of the 20-yard line. And that basically just turns into a punt for Fort Hays State. But the Broncos get the pick, and they'll take over at the 19.
Number 3, Kobe Stevens.
Big play by the UCO defense, and you know, like you said, yes, it shifts the field position a little bit like a punt, but at the same time, the Broncos have 3 timeouts left, and they've shown the ability to move the ball down the field today. So,
and I think that's one you're okay with because we've seen what he can do in the kick return game, right? Kobe Stevens. So
yeah,
let him try to make a return
absolutely
on it. Minute 10 to go. Broncos still do have all 3 timeouts and a 16-10 lead from their own 19-yard line. Cottrell is the running back in the pistol behind Brown. Fake handoff is Brown. Rolls right, now throws back left on the screen, and that's blown up. Lost back to the 14-yard line. Is coming in to make the play was Mikael Williams. He's had a big first half. Had that interception and makes that tackle for a 5-yard loss, and UCO will use their first timeout of the first half. We'll keep it right here. Todd Lisenby, John Fitzgerald, Josh Conant, our in-studio producer. Don't forget, coming up at halftime on the radio broadcast, you will hear our interview with UCO basketball coach Bob Hoffman, who's going to be joining us in the booth here to tell you about Bronco basketball as they get ready for the 22-23 season. 16-10 is our score. UCO with a 6-point lead has scored 16 straight after trailing this one 10-0. And the Broncos have the ball, 2nd down and 15 at the 14-yard line, their own 14-yard line, with 1:04 to play first half. Looking around the MIAA, John, it's now 37-14 in Emporia State. I mean, they are turning it on.
Just a crazy game up there, and a great performance by the Hornets. Great win for them. It shakes the conference up a little bit. I think everybody thinks that Pittsburgh State is probably the best team in the conference at the moment, but you know, Kearney was having a good season as well, and this will be a pretty tough loss for the Lopers.
Out of the timeout, 2nd down and 15 for the Broncos at their own 14-yard line. Still have 2 timeouts left. Brown, there's that little underneath pass again to Kemper, and this time it only gains a yard to the 15. Kemper on the shovel pass gets 1. And Fort Hays State not going to use any timeouts here. I'm a little surprised, John, that they didn't use a timeout and at least try to catch a punt and throw the ball into the end zone once, but the Broncos are going to be able to take this clock all the way down to 17, 18 seconds.
Yeah, especially given that UCO is going to get the football to start the second half. So you think Fort Hays might want to take advantage of this field position here at the end, but
play clock is at 10. Game clock's at 26 here in this first half. As UCO will run a 3rd down and 14 play from their own 15. Brown in the gun. Hands it to Kemper running left. And he gets out to the 20. 5-yard gain, and Fort Hays State will just let the clock run out and head to halftime. So Fort Hays State scored the first 10 points of the game. Broncos answer back with 16 unanswered in the second quarter. And at halftime, it's UCO 16, Fort Hays State 10. John, your thoughts on the first half of play?
It didn't start out well for the Broncos, but they've responded nicely, taking the lead. Lost at the beginning of the game and deferred, so they're going to get the ball here.
Stevens is deep, and Terrell Davis is deep as well for the Broncos. It's a line drive kick in the direction of Stevens, who takes it at the 5-yard line, has room to run at the 20 to the 25, and out right about where he's gotten on all 3 kickoff returns to the 27-yard line before he's forced out of bounds by Cade Melvin for Fort Hays State. We'll mark it at the 28, so it's a 23-yard return, 1st and 10 Broncos from their own 28 as we start this second half of play.
Return of 23 yards.
That was as you said, a line drive kick, like almost one that you didn't really have time to fair catch because he was, running and trying to catch the ball and get to it. And fortunately for the Broncos, he advanced the ball out past the 25.
1st and 10, offset eye, fake pitch. Brown rolling right, drops it off underneath to Dante McGee, who toe taps on the sideline and stays in bounds to the 34. McGee just ran out of room there. He gets 6 yards, though, from the 28 up to the 34.
Yeah, just a little safety valve for Steph Brown out of the backfield. He was under a lot of pressure, had to dump that thing off. And McGee did a nice job. It looked like I thought he maybe stepped out of bounds, but he didn't.
I think tightrope was the word I was looking for. Here's a pop pass underneath to Terrell Davis in motion from left to right. Davis breaks a couple tackles, gets across the 40 to the 42-yard line before Mikkel Williams knocks him out of bounds. But it's a first down gain of 8 on the play.
Terrell Davis was just knocking everybody out of his way on that play. Fort Hays State defenders, UCO blockers. He was like, get out of my way, man. Let me run. And the Broncos moved the chains, and that's exactly what you want to do to start this second half.
Working from the right hash. Broncos have gone short side of the field on both of their first 2 run plays here on the right side. Technically, the second one was a pass play. This time, Delso goes in motion. There's a fake pitch. Brown's going to turn it up and keep it himself, and he's going to get about a yard to the 43. Fort Hays State not fooled on the option look as Judson Wiltfong comes in to make the tackle. He's from Edmond, Kansas. 1-yard gain on the play, 2nd and 9 coming up.
I had no idea there was an Edmond,
Me neither. I do now.
I was born in Kansas. I know a decent amount about Kansas. I had no idea there was an Edmond, Kansas.
2nd down and 9 at the 48. Brown with 2 backs in the backfield. Fakes a handoff, throws it in the flat right side for Madison Ridgway, and it's incomplete. Ridgway had to jump in the air near the sideline to make the catch. The defender just carried him out of bounds with his momentum. And it'll be 3rd down and 9. The Broncos have looked a little out of sorts on this opening drive.
Yeah, and it was a good catch. He had to go up and make an athletic play to catch that ball, but like you said, out of bounds. And how about this, Todd? The population of Edmond, Kansas is 28.
That's why you didn't know about it, right? It's 27 now because one of them's here in Edmond, Oklahoma today playing. Brown on 3rd down, throws left side, defender fell down, passes complete to Bizel at the 43, inside the 40, and down to the 38-yard line in Fort Hays State territory. Steph Brown to Johnny Bizel for 19 yards and a first down.
In the 2010 census, there were 49 residents of Edmond, Kansas, but in the 2020 census, it was down to 28.
That's why you've never heard of it, right?
It is.
The Tigers, 1st and 10, Broncos.
1st and 10 at the 38-yard line. Brown with Kemper behind him in the pistol. Opening drive, second half for UCO. 16-10, the Broncos lead Fort Hays State. Brown hands it to Kemper, running right, has room, 35, cuts back to the 30 and all the way down to the 28. Boy, that's the best seam the offensive line has created all afternoon. It's a 10-yard gain. They'll mark him down for a 9-yard gain, so it'll be 2nd and 1.
Yeah, and Kemper's kind of limping off the field a little bit, hobbling on his, looks like his left leg that he's favoring. So we'll see how that develops, and if he gets back out on the field, hopefully just a little bump, little bruise.
Jalen Cottrell back in at running back behind Steph Brown. Brown looking to the sideline. Play clock goes under 10. Still plenty of time as he takes the snap. Hands to Cottrell running left, turns it up. Well, and he is hit hard. He did get the yard plus one more he needed for the first down, but it's only a 2-yard gain from the 29 to the 27. However, it's a 1st and 10 for UCO.
Move those chains. That's all that matters. Just continuing the drive down the field and give yourself a fresh set of downs. The Broncos do just that there.
First and 10 UCO at the Tigers' 27-yard line. Fort Hays State led this one 10-0 after the first quarter. UCO scored 16 unanswered since. And on their opening drive here of the second half, have it first and 10 at the Tigers' 27. Pitch to Peyton Scott, nothing there. Boy, he tried to get outside left, and that was eaten up. A couple players there for Fort Hays State. Jerome Affe was there, and also Travion Mitchell was there. It's going to be a loss of 3 back to the 30.
And just because that play wasn't that exciting for the Broncos, this will be the last thing I say about it, but Edmond, Kansas is in the far northwest corner of the state of Kansas. So It's up by Nebraska and Colorado. And, we try to educate a little bit here.
You learned something new today, right?
We learned too.
Second and 13. Brown fakes a handoff, rolling right, steps up, spins away from a tackler, still on his feet at the 30, loses his helmet as he falls to the 25. It's going to be a 1-yard gain as Brown's going to have to come out for a play. Helmet went flying up in the air. I don't think he got hit in the head. I think it was just compression from a hit to his shoulder pads popped it off of him.
I don't understand the physics of the helmet coming off all the time nowadays, because I don't think my helmet ever came off when I was playing, unless it was really just violently pushed off or illegally pushed off.
I do think a lot of it depends on your hair, too, honestly.
Got big hair?
Yeah, I did not have big hair. Still don't. Either. Third down and 9 from the 26. Thompson in at quarterback, throws right side, and the pass is through the hands of Jacob Delso near the sticks. It's going to be fourth down, and the Broncos are going to settle for a long field goal here. It's going to be about a 44-yarder for Nicky Quevedo.
But like you said, Coach Doral probably doesn't even hesitate to put Quevedo out there for these long field goals. He's delivered in the past, and I'm sure he delivers all the time in practice. They see it all the time. And obviously this would make it a 2-score ball game for the Broncos, or a 2-score lead. So big field goal attempt here for Quevedo.
Bo Phelps will hold. Peyton Hunt will snap. Nicky Quevedo from 43 yards right hash. Snap, hold, or good. The kick has plenty of leg. It looks good, and it's right down the middle. 10:29 to go third quarter. Nicky Quevedo hit that one, probably 10 or 15 extra yards on it as well, and the Broncos have their first 2-score lead of the game. 19-10, UCO leads Fort Hays State. You're listening to UCO Bronco football on KOKC.
So at gmail.com. We want to hear from somebody who's in Edmond, Kansas.
Now, that would be something if we got an email from Edmond, Kansas. Population 28, isn't that what we decided?
In the 2020 census, so who knows in 2022
That's right.
what the population is.
Nicky Quevedo to boot this one away. It's a short kick. Coming up to get it is Schrimmer at the 11, 12-yard line. Out to the 20, to the 25, has room, to the 30, to the 35, and he's tripped up. Gets it out to the 38-yard line. I think Quevedo was trying to kick it in that gap again and just put too much on that one, and Schrimmer got a good return on it.
Very nice return. Good blocking up front for Fort Hays State, and really fortunate that Schrimmer didn't get through that last set of tacklers, because that could have been really problematic, maybe to the tune of a touchdown for Fort Hays State.
Final score from Kearney, Nebraska, 44-21. Emporia State beats the Lopers today in Kearney, Nebraska. Start of the fourth quarter, Pitt State's up 34-3 on Lincoln. We'll give you some other scores after this first down Fort Hays play. Dawson hands it to Soto, right side. He's going to be hit by Blake Barone at the 39. Carries Barone up to the 40. It's a gain of 3 on the play. The other games in the MIAA currently, in fact, this one just went it just started fourth quarter. Northwest Missouri State 23-10 over our opponent next week, Washburn. And Central Mo, early fourth quarter, up 17-10 on Missouri Southern. Second down, 7 at the 40. Dawson underneath, pitches it to the receiver, coming around left side to the 45-yard line. That was Trevor Watts getting his first catch of the game for Fort Hays State, and he gains 5. It'll bring up a third down and 2. One other game in the MIAA later tonight, coming up here in about 20 minutes, will be Missouri Western and Northeastern State up in Tahlequah. Third down and 2 on the opening drive of the third quarter for Fort Hays State. 19-10 is the score, UCO on top. Shotgun formation for Jack Dawson, who looks to throw, pumps, throws right side, man wide open, and he overthrew him. Oh, he had a man running wide open down the sideline. That was the tight end, Leighton Cure, and he couldn't get to it, and the Broncos avoided disaster there.
Yeah, we saw busted coverage earlier in the game by Fort Hays State, and that resulted in a long UCO touchdown. We almost paid it back to him right there, but fortunately, Dawson was unable to put the ball on the mark, and UCO gets a pardon from that mistake.
Final score also in D2 football, number 2 Grand Valley State beat number 1 Ferris State today, 22-21. So Grand Valley State is your new number 1 in Division II football. Tigers are going to punt it here as Sawson is in punt formation. The left footer kicks a high punt, fair catch called for. Javion Dangerfield makes that fair catch at the 15-yard line. Excuse me, that's Richards that makes the fair catch. And that's where the Broncos will have it. First down and 10. Timeout on the field. We'll take it with them. 9:13 to go, third quarter. 19-10 Broncos.
Population 28. So that's 10.7% of the population of Edmond, Kansas plays football for Fort Hays State.
First and 10 Broncos at the 15. Brown fakes a handoff, has lots of room and all day. Airs one out down the middle of the field for Hammond, and he caught it inside the 35 and carries a tackler all the way down inside the Tigers' 25-yard line. Boy, Steph Brown put some air on that one. Threw it about 65 yards in the air, and Oscar Hammond makes a big grab.
Hammond was wide open again. Now, he had to slow down a little bit and get under that football, so that one was not as clear-cut, but he makes a great catch with coverage closing in on him and puts the Broncos in great field position.
52 yards on the play. First and 10 Broncos at the Fort Hays State 23. Brown hands to Peyton Scott, running left. Runs over a tackler, still on his feet, still moving down inside the 20 to the 17, maybe the 18-yard line they'll say he's down. 5-yard run, though, on first down for Peyton Scott, the little bowling ball from Sand Springs, Oklahoma.
Timeout. Injury on the defense.
And timeout.
Play clock to 40 seconds.
Oh, we got an injury on the field, not a timeout on the field. Got an injured player down.
It looks like a Fort Hays State defensive lineman. Can't get a number on him, but maybe just a cramp.
Looks like a thigh cramp almost, the way they're
kind of
working on his leg there.
Yeah.
Did you ever have cramp issues when you played? I got mine more after games than during games.
I had my freshman year, which was at another school. I had some serious cramping issues during two-a-days, and ended up in the infirmary with getting some IVs and stuff. But never.
That was big Jason Wallace cramping up there.
Never anything too bad when I was playing. Now, we played Stephen F. Austin in 2000. The first game of the season was August 31st. It was 112 degrees on a Thursday night in Nacogdoches, Texas. And we had several players take IVs after that game, and so did they. And they were doing it in the same room. So it was like the medical room at their football facility. And so we're sitting next to other players taking IVs. I wasn't in there, but I heard stories from it.
Second down and 5 after the injured player. Wallace heads to the sideline. 2nd and 5 for Brown, who pumps right, throws left, screen underneath. Caught by Dante McGee. He's got the first down inside the 15, down to about the 12-yard line. 6-yard gain on the play. Where the Broncos run a lot of screen action, don't they? So many different ways they get to it.
Yeah, it comes from, like you said, it comes from all different directions, which keeps that defense on their toes for sure.
Broncos moved early that time. That was a big left tackle, Noah Dobson, who nearly got away with it.
78 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
78 offense is Noah Dobson. So the big fella from Midwest City, Carl Albert, the guilty party, moves the ball back to the 17, where it'll be 1st and 15. Jason Wallace, the injured player. He's from Sugar Hill, Georgia. That's a fun town name as well. 1st and 15 for Steph Brown. He's Kernersville, North Carolina's own. He's in the shotgun on first down. Hands off to Kemper, running right. Kemper 15-10. Oh, and he's upended at the 8-yard line. Boy, Kemper had one man to beat. Good open field tackle from Daniel Howard. It is still a gain of 9, though.
Sometimes Kemper just gets those feet moving too fast that he can't make a move. And that time he just ran right into the defender. Now,
timeout.
I think Howard's down.
We set the play clock to 40 seconds.
I think that was Howard who made the tackle who's down, and it was one where Kemper, you almost wonder if Kemper didn't catch him with a knee, like in his
helmet.
neck or head area, because the way he went down, he kind of flipped him over. He hit him in the legs there.
Yeah, and he's been moving around on the ground, so I don't think there's any concern of a neck injury or anything like that.
In fact, he's going to be, it looks like, up to his feet, sitting up at least, which is good. 7:26 to go third quarter, 19-10 Broncos.
Not to beat a dead horse, but
you're fascinated with this.
It looks like residents of Edmond, Kansas attend Norton Community Schools, so Norton Community High School. And if you Google Norton Community Schools, the first sentence of the description of Norton Community Schools is, Norton Community High School, built in 1976, is carpeted and air conditioned.
There you go.
That's the first
there you go.
descriptor of the I feel like that description might have been written in 1976 and they've just kept it because it doesn't seem like great amenities these days, right?
By the way, you know how it got its name?
I don't.
Edmond had a post office from the 1870s until 1996. It was named for Jack Edmond, who offered a supply of flour in exchange for naming rights for the town.
Very nice.
So the injured player for Fort Hays State was Daniel Howard. He is off the field under his own power, so that's good. Second down for the Broncos after that 9-yard gain on first down. It's 2nd down and 6. There's the underneath pass, and this one's going to get hit in the backfield. And losing yardage back to the 15 for UCO on the play. I believe that's Terrell Davis who got the underneath pitch.
Now Hayes has another player down. The
UCO's player's down, I think.
Where's that at?
On the near side over here, there's a UCO player down.
Timeout.
Oh, there is.
There's players next to each other. So 3 straight plays we've had injuries.
Yep, the Hayes linebacker, I think he got a shoulder stinger. He's really holding his shoulder.
That's Lake Heimerman.
Yeah, and his left arm kind of just looked dead. If that's you know what I mean? Like he's just kind of hanging there. So there's definitely a shoulder issue, and his teammates were signaling to get help over there pretty quick. So we'll hope that's not super serious, like a dislocation or a collarbone or something like that. Hopefully it's just a little stinger. He can get back out there. The UCO
I'm not sure who had the ball on the carry. I had a hard time grabbing the number. Was it Terrell Davis? Yeah. Okay. So he's the player that's down then. I thought it was, but
he took a lot of hits. He just kept fighting.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he was fighting and just going backwards. Every time he fought, he went backwards a little bit more. And the Broncos gone the wrong direction here as they get down close to the red zone. But
Davis is on his feet. He looks okay. I did see immediately some of the training staff giving a thumbs up, like it wasn't anything too serious, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean, he's walking and not limping or anything. So, I mean, they're going to take him back here to the training table, do a little further investigation. So
big loss, though. Loss of 7 on the play. That's the big story from that. Sets up now a 3rd down and 13 from the 15. Hard to really have any momentum either way when every play is stopped for an injury on this drive, it feels like. 3rd and 13 UCO at the Fort Hays 15-yard line. 4 receivers left for Brown. Empty backfield, 1 right. Brown pressured, steps up. Flag's going to come down for holding as Brown's going to run inside the 5, and he's going to have a 1st down. But this one's coming back because Noah Dobson just tackled the defender, Jeremiah Jackson, in the backfield.
The flag came kind of late, I felt like.
I think the ref had a hard time getting the flag out of his pants.
Because I was watching Dobson, and I thought he might have been holding.
78 offense. 10 yards from the previous spot, replay 3rd down.
But he took Jackson to the turf, and no flag was thrown. I was like, all right, they're just not going to call it. But like you said, maybe the official had a tough time getting the flag out of his pocket. And unfortunately, the Broncos negate a huge play. And really, it was backside holding, too, so I'm not even sure that it would have affected it too much. Maybe it gave Brown just a little more time to get out of there, but regardless.
So now it's 3rd and 23 at the 25. Broncos still in field goal range, up by 9 with 6.5 to go third quarter. 19-10 our score. Kemper is the running back, 2 receivers each side. Pass to Hammond in the flat. Hammond at the 20. Ball comes loose, and it rolls out of bounds at the 18-yard line. So, again, the Broncos just avoid a disaster, and it's going to be 4th down, and UCO is going to send on the field goal unit to try to add to the lead. The ball's going to actually go back to where he fumbled it, which is at the 21, because you can't fumble it forward. unless you're the one that recovers it. So it's going to be a 38-yard field goal from the right hash, kick in the same direction where Quevedo hit a 43-yard field goal from the right hash earlier this quarter. Nicky Quevedo with Bo Phelps holding, Peyton Hunt snapping. Snap and hold are perfect. The kick is on the way. It looks good, and it is. Nicky Quevedo continues his hot start to the season, and the Broncos add to their lead. 5:59 to go third quarter. It's 22-10. UCO leads Fort Hays State. It's UCO Bronco football on KOKC. Yard field goal for Nicky Quevedo, his second field goal here in this second half. And the Broncos lead 22-10. Third of the game for Quevedo is this time the kick is going to be returnable, taken by Dawson Brown at the 2, up to the 15, to the 20, and he's out to the 24-yard line where Chase Faber takes him to the turf. And it'll be 1st and 10 Fort Hays State from their own 24-yard line. I want to remind you, if you want to get in touch with us in the booth, ucoradio@gmail.com is how you can get in touch with us.
Don't look now, but Washburn has tied it up with Northwest Missouri State, 23-23. 7 minutes and 15 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
1st and 10. That's Dawson working out of the shotgun. Pumps right, looks. Now he's going to keep it. Runs to the 25, to the 30, out to the 32-yard line where Trayvon Craig makes the tackle. Good run, though, by Dawson. He gained 9. It'll be 2nd and 1. I don't think that was a design quarterback draw, but it almost turned into one, John.
No, he looked, and everybody was, all the pressure was coming from the right side, but they were pretty well blocked. He didn't have anybody, so there was a lane there for him to run in. Jason Harris makes kind of a poor attempt at a tackle and misses it, and he's able to get extra yardage because of it.
2nd down, fake handoff to Soto. Dawson floats one in the flats. It's incomplete. He thought he had his tight end, Leighton Cure, by himself, but Connor Johnson was there to effect the throw, and it'll be 3rd down and 1. By the way, Washburn just kicked the extra point to take the lead in that game, so it's 24-23 Washburn on top of Northwest Missouri State with 7:15 to go. Don't forget, that game in Maryville, by the way. Don't forget, we'll be in Topeka next week at 1 p.m. for UCO and Washburn. 3rd down and 1 for Fort Hays State from their own 33. Handoff to Soto, running left. He gets the 1st down and a little bit more, but not much. Chase Faber is in on the tackle. It's going to be a gain of 3 from the 33 to the 36 and move the chains. Michael Slater in as well on that tackle.
UCO's done that a few times, not getting much, but getting the 1st down. That's what Fort Hays State needed to do right there. Give that ball to Soto, let him drive those legs forward, get behind that big offensive line. They didn't need much, but they moved the chains.
1st down 10 at the 36 for Fort Hays State. Soto to the left of the quarterback, Dawson. Dawson steps up, pressured, running to his right. Gets away from Connor Johnson at the 40 to the 45. He's got a 1st down across the 45 and to the 48-yard line before Kobe Stevens makes the play. Runs for 13 yards, and it's 1st and 10 for the Tigers.
Michael Slater looks like he might be coming off hurt. He's taking his glove off his left hand and holding his left hand, so hopefully nothing serious for one of the best defenders up front for the Broncos.
1st and 10 Fort Hays State from their own 48. Soto running left, runs into a wall, cuts back to his right, finds a little bit of room into Broncos territory and just continues to churn his feet all the way down to the UCO 44-yard line. It's an 8-yard gain on 1st down.
Just tough to bring down. I mean, there were several times in that run that I thought they had him bottled up, and Soto just kept driving and gets close to that first down marker.
2nd down 2 from the 44-yard line in Bronco territory. Soto now 12 carries, 53 yards on the game. Soto gets another carry, this time running right, bounces outside, has the 1st down and more as he finds a little seam down inside the 40 to the 39 in Bronco territory. 5-yard run, and it's 1st and 10 for the Tigers, and this is the best drive Fort Hays State has put together since the 1st quarter.
Yeah, moving the ball down the field and not doing anything particularly fancy, just running the ball. Now, there's been some quarterback runs where there's been pressure and the quarterback has improvised a little bit, but it hasn't been, trickery or long pass plays or anything like that. Just Simple running football.
1st and 10 at the UCO 39. It's a fake handoff to Soto. Dawson pumps, throws, left side, and they tried the double move, and it's overthrown and incomplete. Marco DeMio read that double move like a book. Marcellus Crutchfield, the intended receiver, but Dawson did the smart thing and just threw that one into the sidelines.
Yeah, that one had no chance, but like you said, when the receiver's covered up like that, hard to throw it in his direction.
I think it was closer to the IMSA people down in the corner, to the ambulance down there, than it was his receiver. 2nd down 10 at the 39. Dawson hands off to Soto, running left, and there's not a whole lot there. He looked to get outside, and Connor Johnson caught it from the backside for no gain, and we've got a flag after the play away from the ball, as I believe that was Javasia Brunson for UCO, and that was Big Pat Kelly for Fort Hays State that were going at each other after the play.
Well, and I think Fort Hays State is pointing that it's against the Broncos.
Personal foul, illegal hands to the face. Number 98, defense. 15 yards we had on the end of the play. Automatic, 1st down.
Adam Dorrell is having a conversation with our referee, David Burge, as that penalty moves the ball down to the 29-yard line. The 24-yard line, and makes it 1st and 10 for Fort Hays State.
I hope he's telling him that he doesn't like the way he says automatic when it's against the Broncos.
It's fun when it's the other way, right? 1st and 10 at the 24-yard line for Fort Hays State as they shift into a bunch formation, 3 receivers right. Looking that way, it's Dawson. Dawson throws that way, has a man wide open in the end zone, and it's caught. Manny Ramsey made the grab for his 2nd touchdown catch of the game. Good pass from Jack Dawson, and Fort Hays State has cut the lead in half. It's 22-16, and the extra points pending.
Yeah, just good throw and catch, wide open receiver, and a really nice offensive drive by Fort Hays State. They settled down and put a nice drive together. That UCO defense just was catching on that drive, catching they weren't delivering the blows, right? They were catching what the offensive lineman was throwing at them.
Parker Jenke's extra point is up, and it's good. And with 2:46 to go 3rd quarter, it's UCO 22, Fort Hays State 17. You're listening to UCO Bronco football on KOKC.
Fort Hays State 17.
Back to Chad Richardson Stadium. Todd Lisenby, John Fitzgerald, Josh Connett, our in-studio producer. Good drive for Fort Hays State as they take it down the field and score a touchdown to cut into the Bronco lead. 22-17, UCO now on top, as Parker Jenke gets ready to kick it off for the Tigers. Stevens and Davis deep to receive for UCO, and it's headed in the direction of Kobe Stevens. And he'll just let it go over his head for a touchback, and the Broncos will have it at the 25-yard line. Broncos have had a couple of decent drives offensively, John, but they've just stalled. And you got to turn those into touchdowns and put this game away.
Yeah, and fortunately for the Broncos, their field goal game has been strong today, and that's allowed them to hold this 5-point lead. Fort Hays State hasn't done a lot offensively since early in the game, and but they definitely came alive there, and there's still plenty of time left. So this UCO offense is going to have to answer, put some points on the board, because Fort Hays State's going to get the ball back. We're in the 3rd quarter. So
1st down and 10 at the 25 for the Broncos. Cottrell in motion as Brown fakes left, throws right to Hammond on the screen, and he's hitting the backfield and dropped. 3-yard loss on the play. Blake Davis comes up to make the tackle.
I want to say what's up to the Brown family, Kennesaw, Georgia, emailing us here in the booth. They are a family of Dawson Brown, who is a Fort Hays State player. And we're glad they're listening, watching the stream probably. And they emailed us here, ucoradio@gmail.com. We want to hear from you too.
2nd down 13 for UCO at the 22. Brown with Antonio Smith Jr. behind him, hands it off, left side, big hole, gets across the 30, but we've got a hold as this one's going to come back. I think Mikkel Williams got held. I'm going to guess the guilty party was Gavin Wilson for UCO, number 49.
Synchronized cramps going on for Fort Hays State.
Timeout. Injury.
Yeah, 2 players cramping up. One of them is Williams. He's up and stretching on his feet now. The other player is can't quite get his number.
He is sprawled out, isn't he?
He's hurting.
Well, it is unseasonably warm.
It's terrible.
Let's hear from our referee, David Burge, on the penalty.
Personal foul, chop block, offense. Half the distance to the goal, replay second down.
It's even worse than a hold. It's a chop block.
Yeah, the Broncos, you can't do that to yourselves. And listen, the thing about chop blocks is that they're not typically intentional. They don't go,
it's
hey,
miscommunication.
They don't go like, hey, you take him high, I'll take him low.
Right.
Nobody does that. They are put in place to protect the defensive players, and so it's outlawed, so you can't do it intentionally. But when it occurs, it's typically either, hey, I thought you were going to get off this guy and go that way, or, that guy cut inside hard, and so now there's two players on him where there wouldn't have been. So it's really just kind of sometimes unfortunate circumstances that create those.
You see it a lot of times, too, where a running back will come over and he wants to take on a big lineman low, and he doesn't realize that they're about to be engaged with a lineman, right, and they kind of hit at the same time, high-low. So the first, Mikel Williams for Fort Hays State is up on his feet. He was getting a cramp worked out. The other player's still down.
Sitting up now, but, yeah, now they're helping. He must be just locked up completely. I mean, he's either...
That's Sam Brandt, the safety from Piedmont, Oklahoma.
And, of course, it's possible that it's not a cramp. It's possible that it's a leg injury,
right?
Right? But it looked like he was kind of stretching it like they were trying to get him to uncramp, and he's kind of stiff-legged with his right leg walking off the field.
Well, with all these injuries and just kind of the weird momentum change, this game has strangely turned into a spot where UCO finds himself in a little bit of trouble. 2nd and 24 after the penalty from their own 11-yard line. The Broncos only up by 5 in this one, 22-17. Brown on 2nd and 24, fakes a handoff and looks to throw. Steph Brown has time, throws right side in for Dominique Dunn, and Dunn couldn't hold on. Boy, that was a dangerous throw. Dominique Dunn had the chance to make the catch up at the 22, but can't, and now it's 3rd down and long, and the Broncos likely will just try to get some field position here and punt it away.
Yeah, you said dangerous throw, but it was a great throw.
It was, yeah.
Steph Brown put that, you said earlier, through a tight window earlier in the game. I mean, that's a perfect description of what happened right there. And Dunn just not able to hang on to it, so the Broncos probably will go a little conservative here.
It's a fake handoff to Kemper. Brown's going to throw it back to him on the screen. Kemper at the 10. There's a hold in the flat that time as Kemper gets to the 20 to the 25-yard line. Pretty obvious hold. And it's going to be 4th down. I would imagine they'll decline that penalty and make it a 4th and 10.
I think the first thing I would do as a football coach is tell your players, don't throw your hands up like you just did something wrong. Like that's a big...
It's a telltale sign, right?
It's like raising your flag or your hand that
holding.
You committed a penalty.
76 offense. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
Matt Gardner, the freshman from Moore, the guilty party on that one. So 4th down and 10.
Yeah, I know that accepting that penalty would have given UCO another opportunity on 3rd down, but boy, it would have backed them up to where they would have been playing out of their own end zone just about. I might have taken that if I was Fort Hays, because UCO's got a lot more breathing room here to punt this football.
Vargas will punt it away. Good snap. Kick is a high spiraling kick towards the Fort Hays sidelines and out of bounds. Not a great kick. Came off the side of his foot and went out of bounds. We'll see where they spot it. It's going to be spotted at the 48-yard line in Fort Hays State territory. So that's a punt of only 27 yards with no return.
Yeah, and the way that Fort Hays moved the ball in the last drive, this is good field position for the Tigers in midfield. Yeah, this UCO defense is going to have to come out and respond. We still got a lot of time left.
It's been a weird third quarter, hasn't it?
21 in the third, but I haven't felt like the Broncos have come out and played with a lot of intensity in the second half. Kind of like early on in the game. It took them a while to get going, but just surprised at the level of intensity that they seem to be playing with here in the second half.
1st and 10 from their own 48-yard line. Fort Hays State has it. Handoff to Soto. Running right, nothing doing. He just lowers his head and gets what he can. Out to the 49-yard line. 1 yard on the play. Grant Lohr comes over to make the tackle for the Broncos. 1:05 to go and ticking. 3rd quarter, 22-17. UCO leads Fort Hays State.
Northwest Missouri has pulled back in front of Washburn 29-24 with 1:55 to play. I assume there's maybe a PAT coming.
Second down and 9 from the 49. Soto gets across midfield on the carry, spins off a tackler into Bronco territory at the 45 and down to the 42. He's got a first down before Dylan Buckheit finally makes the play. 9 yards on the carry.
Another play where I thought Soto was bottled up early on in the play and then managed to get big yardage. Really like the way he runs the football.
From the Bronco 42.
First and 10, Fort Hays State at the UCO 42. Shotgun formation for Dawson, who again hands to Soto. Running right this time. He bangs off another tackler at the 40. A flag's going to come in for a possible hold as he gets down to the 38, maybe the 37. So he runs for 5 more. But I think they're going to get Leighton Cure, the tight end, for a hold here.
I agree.
We'll hear from our referee, David Burge, momentarily. Been busy today.
Personal foul, hands to the face, number 0, defense. 15 yards we had on the end of the play. Automatic. First down.
So it's on the Broncos, and that's going to move the ball down inside the 20-yard line, or just outside the 20-yard line, I should say, to the 22. And it's first and 10 for Fort Hays State with 17 seconds to go here in this third quarter. The clock's going to run. We'll see if the Tigers run one more play in this third quarter. Shotgun for Dawson. Takes the snap. Hands to Soto. Running right. Lowers his head. Gets inside the 20 to the 19. Let's say his knee went down at the 20. And that'll be the last play of quarter number 3. Broncos clinging to a 5-point lead, but Fort Hays State has it in the red zone. 2nd and 8 at the UCO 20 when our fourth quarter gets underway. 22-17, UCO on top. You're listening to UCO Bronco football on KOKC. 3 quarters in the books. 22-17, UCO leads Fort Hays State. Todd Lisenby, John Fitzgerald, Josh Condit, our in-studio producer. 2nd down and 8 for Fort Hays State as the Tigers, who scored the first 10 points of this game and then trailed by 12 themselves as UCO scored the next 22. Fort Hays State looks to regain the lead here. They're down 5. And 2nd and 8 at the Bronco 20. Tigers shift formation. There's a fake handoff to Soto. Throw, the ball's tipped. It's intercepted. It's intercepted by Noah West at the 40, 45, 50. Still on his feet. 45, 40, 35, 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. It's a big boy touchdown for the UCO Broncos, but it's coming back. There's a flag down back at the 38-yard line for a blindside block, I think, on the Broncos. It's going to cost them a touchdown.
We had a couple UCO players almost getting into it at midfield over that because it was an unnecessary block in the back.
Block in the back. UCO 10 yards from the spotted foul. First and 10.
I mean, obviously a huge touchdown-saving interception, but it was just a completely unnecessary block in the back. And the player that committed it, and I didn't see who it was, is going to get absolutely lit up in the film review for that one.
He's lucky the referee didn't call out his number. It helps him out.
The eye in the sky don't lie.
That's right. Yeah, they'll know tomorrow who did that. So it's 1st and 10 at the 48. It erases the touchdown return from Noah West. Noah West is none too pleased either. Brown out of the shotgun, hands it to Smith, running left to the 45, to the 44-yard line. A first down run of 4 yards behind the big left tackle, Noah Dobson. It'll be 2nd down and 6. When it's crazy, we've had 2 defensive interceptions today, too, right?
And the one by Williams was really impressive because he just snatched the ball out of the sky. But the one by West was deflected up. He stayed with it, made the catch, and had a really nice run down the field. Unfortunately, negated by the block in the back, but still a big momentum turner for the Broncos. 2nd
down and 6 at the 39. Brown fakes the handoff. Plenty of time. Airs one out middle of the field for Delso. Incomplete. There's a flag down. We might have a holding on Fort Hays State here because that flag was thrown early in the secondary. Yeah, it's going to be a hold on the Tigers. I see our back judge today, Michael Meenan.
Number 23, defense. 10 yards from the previous spot. Automatic. First down.
Holding's one of those ones that is I was talking to someone about this pregame, John. It's different at every level of football. In high school football, holding is 10 yards, not an automatic first down. In college football, it's the most penalized. It's 10 yards and an automatic first down. In the pro game, it's 5 and a first down.
I really like the way he said automatic right there.
Automatic, that's right. It's good when it goes this direction, right? The Broncos' direction. 1st and 10 UCO at the Fort Hays State 34, 22-17. The Broncos on top. Handoff to Smith, running right, runs into a wall, bounces back left, and just gets a couple to the 32. 2-yard gain for Antonio Smith Jr., the freshman out of Tulsa.
Number 30, Sam Brandt. The Tigers a gain of 2. 2nd down and 8.
I mean, even if UCO can get a field goal out of this drive, it puts them back up by 8 points, which, you know, is still a one-score game, but you've got to, you know, you feel a little better about that than being up 5. So just can't overstate what a huge defensive play that was for the Broncos as Fort Hays State was driving.
Jalen Cottrell back in at running back. 2nd down 8. Pitch to Cottrell, looking to get outside left, and he's chopped down for a loss of 2. Good play defensively that time by Sam Brandt. He was the injured player earlier for Fort Hays State, so good to see him back out there. Unfortunately for us, we just saw him make a big play for the visitors. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that Sam was from Piedmont, Oklahoma. He went to Bethany High School, though.
Yes, I knew that name sounded familiar.
So he played for the
called some of his high school games.
The Broncos with an H.
In fact, I'm pretty sure he was a quarterback in high school, Sam Brandt. 3rd down and 10 from the 34 in Fort Hays State territory. Brown looking to throw, has all day. Rolls right. He can run with it if he wants to. He's going to throw it last second. It's complete for a first down to the 22, and he threw that right behind the line of scrimmage. Jacob Delso makes the grab. It'll move the chains on the 12-yard gain.
During that play, one of the UCO offensive linemen, you said they had all day. At one point, he let off his block, threw his hands up in the air, and looked at the official all at the same time like, don't give them that. Just block.
You saying we got away with a hold?
Well, I'm not saying I'm saying I think he felt like he did.
Right.
I didn't see it. I just saw the aftermath of it. But
1st and 10 at the Tigers' 22-yard line.
UCO false started.
Yeah, false start before the snap.
It was the right side of the offensive line that twitched. I think both of them twitched.
False start. 53 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
It's Montrell Lee from Del City. Also good to see him back out there. I don't want to be too graphic, but Montrell Lee was having a few stomach issues earlier on the sidelines. 1st down and 15 after the penalty.
Did you see the SMU Navy game this week?
No, did that happen?
Well, it happened to the SMU pony that was trotting across the field celebrating a touchdown.
Oh, no.
And they had to take a little break to clean up the field. I don't think, not the same thing.
Right. 1st down and 15. Handoff to Smith, right up the middle. Smith gets back 4 of the 5 yards lost on that penalty. He runs inside the 25 to the 23, and it'll be 2nd down and 11.
Let me be very clear, that is not what was occurring with our offensive line.
It was not. No. Want to update you on some MIAA scores. Central Mo 20-17 over Missouri Southern. That game, late 4th quarter, good one there. And Northwest Missouri State is holding on to a 29-24 lead over Washburn under 2 minutes to play. Brown in the shotgun, fakes a handoff and looks to throw. Pumps, throws, end zone. Madison Ridgeway, touchdown! The double move got him. Madison Ridgeway catches the touchdown, and the Broncos capitalize on the turnover and have their biggest lead of the game, or could tie their biggest lead of the game with the extra point. It's 28-17 UCO.
Well, and again, we said it earlier about the punt returner kind of getting his pardon when Fort Hays State got the ball back. The happiest person in the stadium right now is the one who threw that block in the back on the negated interception return touchdown. But the Broncos put the ball in the end zone and score, and that's a huge 6 points for UCO. PAT coming.
Nicky Cavedo on for this extra point. The kick is up, and the kick is good. Oh, no, he missed it. Well, that's no good. Well, it looked like it went inside the upright, but he missed it. That's the second extra point the Broncos have missed today, and it's a 28-17 lead. 11-14 to go in the ball game. UCO 28, Fort Hays State 22. You're listening to UCO Bronco football on KOKC. Touchdown. It was called back for a block in the back on the return, but UCO goes 48 yards for the touchdown and extend the lead to 11, 28-17. Nicky Cavedo kicks this one away. It's a high kick that's going to easily head into the end zone for a touchback. Well, that's the longest kick of the day. That one went out of the end zone in the air. And it'll be 1st and 10, Fort Hays State at the 25. John, the defense for UCO this year has been so opportunistic and really carried the team early in the season when the offense struggled to gain footing. And again today, as the offense has struggled a little bit, the defense has made a few big plays.
Well, I was going to say the defense has been the strength of the team even when the offense is performing. It's just accentuated, or the offense is doing more, right, when they're performing, so you don't see it as much. But this defense has really been the key unit for the Broncos this season, and that interception was huge and certainly would be good to get another one on this drive.
1st and 10, Fort Hays State at the 25. Soto pitches it back to Dawson. It's a flea flicker. He's got a man wide open. It's Manny Ramsey, but he overthrew him. Oh, second time today Dawson has had a receiver wide open and overthrown him. They tricked the Broncos on the flea flicker, but it's incomplete. It'll be 2nd down.
Yeah, once you bite on the flea flicker and then realize what it is, it's often too late. There were 2 UCO defenders that were trailing the wide receiver down the field, but they were probably 4 or 5 yards behind him. So had the ball connected, that probably would have been a touchdown for Fort Hays State. Fortunately for UCO, it did not.
2nd down and 10 from the 25. Dawson looking left, throwing left. It's intercepted at the 42-yard line by Marco DeMio, and the Broncos get it back on another turnover. Excuse me, that's a Monte Davis, and the Broncos get it back at the 41-yard line.
Picks it up for the Broncos at the 41-yard line.
And so UCO gets their 3rd pick of the game, and the Broncos, with 11 minutes to go, look to put this one away now, up 28-17, and have it 1st and 10 at the Fort Hays State 41.
Just when we're talking about the defense, kind of being the strength of this UCO team, and that's not to take anything away from the offense. It's just, especially early on in this season, the defense was absolutely better. Now the both units are certainly contributing and doing their part, but the defense gives UCO great field position here.
1st and 10 at the 41. Handoff, Antonio Smith running off left guard, gets about 2 to the 39. Washburn just scored a touchdown and took the lead with 24 seconds to go. It's 30-29 Washburn. The 2-point conversion was no good. They lead in Maryville, looking to hand the Bearcats their 3rd loss on the season, which if you followed MIAA football for the last, decade, seems kind of unheard of.
Well, and what's crazy is that, they went toe-to-toe with Pittsburgh State, Northwest Missouri did.
Right.
And Pittsburgh State is probably the class of the MIAA this season.
Handoff to Kemper running right. Kemper finds room inside the 35 and follows a blocker down to the 31. He got the 8 yards he needed for the 1st down.
So Northwest Missouri lost that game. That was their 2nd loss of the season, but it wasn't a bad loss. They played Pittsburgh State very tough, and that game is always a battle. This one's going to be tough for Northwest Missouri State fans to swallow. Probably not as tough as the one here in Edmond a few weeks ago, but they're not used to having that many losses in the loss column for sure.
1st down and 10 at the 31-yard line. Don't look now, but Northwest Missouri State has the ball at the 42 in Washburn territory. Handoff to Kemper running right. Boy, not a lot there. Chopped down after no gain. It'll be 2nd and 10. They got a good kick return to Northwest Missouri State, and they've got it at the 42 with 12 seconds to go and no timeout. So we'll let you know how that game finishes up. 2nd down and 10 after that 0-yard run on 1st down. Kavion Williams checks in for UCO.
There's very few off weeks in the MIAA. If you can't just show up and win games, there's probably a couple teams that are, definitely at the bottom of the conference, but beyond that, every game is a battle.
Brown under center, hands it on the jet sweep, running to his left at the 30 to the 26-yard line. That was Williams, who just checked in the game and runs for a 5-yard gain.
Brown handed that football off falling down. I don't know if he got his foot stepped on or something as he was trying to get out from under center, but he just leaned back and fell to the ground, and fortunately he was close enough to the ball carrier to hand it off.
3rd and 5 from the 26. With Kemper to the left of Steph Brown. 28-17, UCO leads with 8:53 to play. Brown takes the shotgun snap. Blitz comes. He steps up. He throws underneath the Dunn, who makes a grab at the 20. Breaks the tackle, and he's going to waltz into the end zone. Dominique Dunn on the crossing route makes the play, and the Broncos extend their lead to 34-17.
2 interceptions by Fort Hays State result in 2 offensive touchdowns by the UCO Broncos, and that's what happens. You can't make mistakes in football games. They're so critical. You don't understand. It's so hard to win football games consistently, and it takes those little things will just kill you. And Fort Hays State has paid dearly here in the 4th quarter.
Extra point from Nicky Cavado's on the way. He's missed 2 of them today. That one looks much better, and it's right down the middle and good. 8:44 to go, 35-17. UCO on top. You're listening to UCO Bronco football on KOKC.
8:44 remaining in the game. Score.
Lead, and Northwest Missouri State had no timeouts. Northwest Missouri State returns the kickoff to the 42-yard line, then hits a pass play down to the 19, and then kicks a field goal with 2 seconds to go left to take a 32-30 lead. So Washburn will receive the kickoff.
That will be their last play, basically.
Yeah, we'll see how that game goes as UCO kicks off here.
No time's going to go off the clock on this kickoff because it's going to be taken 9 yards deep, and a knee is going to be put down in the end zone by Alex Schrimmer. Well, the Broncos defense, again, 4 turnovers. You get the 1 on special teams on the muff punt, and then you get the 3 interceptions.
Touchback brings the ball to the 25.
UCO obviously has turned it over once themselves, but plus 3 turnovers, that's how you win at home, and that's been the recipe for UCO here at Chad Richardson Stadium all year long, John.
Absolutely, and it stops drives. One of those interceptions was Fort Hays was driving to the end zone in UCO territory, and it didn't look like UCO was going to stop them, and they got that tipped interception, the one that got called back on the touchdown, but that still set up a UCO touchdown drive.
1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. Dawson takes the shotgun snap. Broncos blitz. Dawson throws in the flat, and he got his arm hit as he threw it, and he threw it short towards Adrian Soto. Couldn't really follow through on that one, and it's going to be 2nd down. Soto wouldn't have got more than a yard had he caught it anyway. Still got 8 minutes and 39 seconds if you want to shout out to us here in the booth at ucoradio@gmail.com. 2nd down and 10. At the 25-yard line for Fort Hays State. Broncos in control of this one, 35-17 as Dawson takes the shotgun snap. Dawson rolling right and throws it into the ground. Tried to set up a screen. No one was open. And if you wonder why you don't just try to throw it downfield, he had 2 linemen that were downfield, so he couldn't throw the ball past the line of scrimmage, and it's incomplete, and it'll be 3rd and 10.
I would say that he barely had a receiver in the area there, too. Spiking that football. He spiked it at the feet of 2 linemen.
3rd down.
3rd down and 10 from the 25. Broncos looking to put the finishing touches on this one as Dawson, again, facing a blitz, throws left side, pass is incomplete. Right near the sticks as Marcellus Crutchfield tried to make a grab on it, and he couldn't hold on. I'm not sure if his foot was in bounds anyway, and it's 4th down, and Fort Hays State will punt it right back to UCO. And the Broncos have a chance to put this one really away with an offensive drive here.
Yeah, that couldn't have been nearer to the sticks. I think the stick might need medical attention.
Good. Hey, the guy that got out of the way, though, with a kind of a ninja move.
Yeah.
Kind of looked like the Matrix over there getting out of the way.
That guy's a former athlete. No doubt about it.
So 2 Broncos deep to receive the punt. Bizel and Dangerfield. As this one's going to be fair caught by Bizel at the 40-yard line. And that's Dangerfield who fair caught that one at the 40-yard line. And it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Broncos. 1st and 10 UCO at their own 40-yard line. UCO led this one. Well, first off, Fort Hays State led this one 10-0. The Broncos scored 22 straight points to go up 22-10. Fort Hays State pulled it to 22-17, had the ball at the UCO 20 on the first play of the 4th quarter. Broncos since then have intercepted 2 passes, turned them into touchdowns, and now lead 35-17. Brown in the gun, low snap, hands it to Kemper. Running left, cuts back right to the 40, 45, sheds a tackle to the 46-yard line. They're going to say his knee hit just past the 45, so we'll call it a 5-yard gain on 1st down.
Broncos happy to run that clock a little bit with these running plays, but I still wouldn't be surprised with the success they've had in the passing game today to see UCO run some play action or something here to put some more points on the board.
What is interesting about UCO's backfield, and I talked to head coach Adam Dorrell about this earlier this week, is they have so many backs that run so many different ways. More on that after this 2nd and 5 play. Brown looking to the sidelines, has Cottrell behind him this time. No, that is Kemper again. Sorry, Kemper gets the handoff, and this time nothing doing. He spun down at the 45-yard line for no gain. You got Kemper, who's way more of a patient back, I think, as far as running the ball inside. You got Peyton Scott, who's your little kind of bowling ball back. You've got Carney, who's the big fullback and can also catch the ball in the flat. And then Cottrell, who's a guy who kind of likes to get outside and make that one cut and find the seam. So it's a nice little, not even a 1-2 punch, like a 1-2-3-4 punch the Broncos have at running back.
Yeah, it just shows the defense different looks and kind of keeps them honest. You hit them with one type of back, and then while they're kind of have their hands on their knees, you throw someone else at them, does something completely different.
3rd and 5 at the 45, passing the flats to Delso. Delso turns it upfield, and he's going to be short of the first down. Good open field tackle from Daniel Howard, the junior from Millwood High School here in Oklahoma City. And it's going to be 4th down and 2 at the 48, and we'll see if David Vargas can pin the Tigers deep inside their own territory here.
I think Fort Hays State's going to bring Forrester in the quarterback, too. He was warming up over there on the sidelines during that drive for UCO, and now he's jogged towards where the offense is gathering up. So may have essentially it's not a quarterback controversy, it's a backup quarterback controversy because Fort Hays is without their starting quarterback to begin with.
David Vargas to punt. The Tigers bring the block here. Vargas fumbled the snap a little bit. He does get the punt away. It's a short kick, though. Fair caught at the 20. He almost dropped it. He's lucky he was able to get the kick away. And all things considered, 32 yards and a fair catch he'll take. So with 6:09 to play, Fort Hays State will have it at their own 20-yard line. You mentioned Fort Hays State. If you're watching on the stream today, the MIAA Network, and you're a Fort Hays State fan, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But for Bronco fans out there, their quarterback, Chance Fuller, the senior out of Arlington, Texas, who is their all-time leader in school history in passing yards, has been fighting injuries all season. He's only played in one game this year. It's 1st and 10 for Fort Hays State, and Forrester is in at running back now, or the quarterback now, and the Broncos are going to get caught for offside. The Bronco player jumped in the neutral zone, and offensive lineman moved, but he moved first, so this is going to be a 5-yard penalty.
95, defense, cause a reaction to the offense, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
That was Calvin Hutchings, the guilty party, so it'll be 1st down and 5.
I like the standoff between Hutchings and the offensive tackle for Fort Hays State, both pointing at each other. And then the offensive tackle, he was so excited, he walked about 10 yards down the field celebrating the penalty and had to run backwards to get in his home.
1st down, 5. Forrester steps up, pressured, and he's going to be dropped at the line of scrimmage. Jason Harris got him by the ankles. It's going to be no gain on the play. There's a Fort Hays State offensive lineman down in the backfield, and it looks like he is hurt pretty bad.
Injury timeout.
In a lot of pain. It's going to be 2nd down and 5 after that no gain play. Technically not a sack. It's a run for no gain on the tackle by Jason Harris.
Yeah, I hate to see anybody go down with injury, so hopefully this isn't anything too serious. He's already got a brace on, well, he's got braces on both legs like a lot of offensive linemen do, so that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Want to remind you again while we have a second, John and I will be back on the road next week with UCO football. I don't know if you realize this, John, but it'll be our 2nd straight road trip to a state capital. We went to Jeff City, Missouri 2 weeks ago, and 3 weeks from then, we will go on the road to Topeka, Kansas, the state capital of Kansas, where Washburn, tough luck losers today to Northwest Missouri State, will be the opponent next week, the Broncos and the Ichabods. And I don't think early in the season you would have been able to tell people and have them believe you that UCO would go into that game with a better record, but the Broncos are going to be 5-2, it looks like, if they can hold on here, taking on the 4-3 Ichabods.
Yeah, but don't let that record match
No,
up
not at all.
because this is going to be the toughest game the Broncos have played since Northwest Missouri State.
Toughest road game for sure.
And if the Broncos can go up there and win that game, man, you really have to be happy about what Coach Dorrell's doing for this program.
2nd and 5 after the injury timeout. Forrester, empty backfield, throws complete over the middle to the 30 to the 35-yard line. Making the grab was Calvin Stapp. And That's a 10-yard play and a first down.
Pass complete to number
Calvin Stapp from Colby, Kansas.
That's a Tiger first
And I don't know if we
down
said
at
it, but the injured
35
offensive
yard
lineman
line.
was Pat Kelly for Fort Hays State, and they've got him over on the training table. So he was helped off the field, limping. We'll hope the best for that young man.
Forrester throwing left side. That pass is caught. Boy, good throw and catch as he found Marcellus Crutchfield across midfield to the 49-yard line in Bronco territory.
Pass complete to number 18,
Gain of 16.
Gain of 16.
Pat Kelly, by the way, senior offensive lineman from Staten Island, New York for Fort Hays State.
First and 10.
They have different parking situations.
In Hays
in
and
those
Staten
two
Island?
towns.
Yeah, I think
I've
so.
been to both.
I think so. One's a little slower life in Hays, Kansas. There's a quarterback draw by Forrester on first down, running up the middle of the defense. Has 10, has 11 yards to the Bronco 38. Boy, this Ethan Forrester kid has come in, and he's done a lot with his legs as well.
I mean, he had a great drive, the one drive he was in the first half, and
Gain
so
of 11 and the first down.
I understand after the 2 picks why they would put him back out and give this UCO defense a little different look.
Ethan Forrester, a redshirt freshman from Lando Lakes, Florida, working out of the shotgun on first and 10 from Bronco 38. Forrester looking, throws in the flat right side for Soto, makes a grab on a bobble, catches it in the backfield and runs inside the 40 to the 35 for a gain of about 3. Gets out of bounds, so the clock will stop momentarily with 4:25 to play. Now it's running again. UCO up 35-17.
Florida's a long way from Hays, Kansas, too. It's a little
Second and 7.
different lifestyle.
I didn't know there was a Lando Lakes, Florida. I don't know if surely that's not the same as the Butter, right? It's made up north, I would think. In the shotgun is Forrester. Takes the snap. Second down as he's blitzed. Steps out of pressure momentarily, and now he's flung to the turf. Connor Johnson came through untouched. It looked like Forrester might sidestep him, but he slings him down all the way back at the 45-yard line for a loss of 10.
Good defensive play called by the Broncos. Fort Hays State doesn't pick up that blitz, and Fort Hays pays in a big way with that loss.
Under 3.5 minutes to play when this ball will be snapped. We're hitting 3:30 on the clock right now, and it's ticking. 3rd and 17 for Fort Hays State at the Bronco 45. The 28-yard line is the line to gain. Forrester working out of the shotgun. Blitz comes. Rolls right, throws, and just throws it away. Got it past the line of scrimmage. He was out of the tackle box. There was no one near it, but it's going to be 4th and 17 as Marco DeMio came on the corner blitz and affected that one.
And now if you're Hays down by 3 scores,
got to go for it, right?
I mean,
Got no choice.
I guess at midfield, yeah.
It's 4th down.
4th down, 17. So whatever slim chances Fort Hays State has to win this game, they pretty much all lie on this play. 4th and 17. The 28-yard line is the line to gain from the 45. And we've got a timeout on the field. And they'll talk it over, and we'll take a break as well. 3:13 to play. UCO up 35-17. You're listening to UCO Bronco football on KOKC.
Fans, it's time to...
Fourth and 17 as Forrester rolls to his right, throws to his right. Oh, and what a catch is made by the Fort Hays State receiver down inside the 15-yard line at the 13. What a grab that time as Cale Corman made the grab. And it's 1st and 10 at the 13-yard line.
Just went up and high pointed the ball, got it at its highest point, and there were 2 UCO defenders there, but he was the one that got his hands to the point to catch that football, and he did. That's a redshirt freshman out of Colorado Springs hauling that ball in for the Tigers. 1st
and 10 at the 13. Fake handoff to Soto. Forrester keeps it right side to the 10, to the 5. Still on his feet. He's got a 1st and goal at the 3-yard line. Ethan Forrester with 10 yards. I mean, I'll just go ahead and say it. Why does this kid not play the whole game? I'm not at practice. I don't know, but he's looked really good on this drive especially.
Right.
1st and goal from the 3, and it's not like the Broncos have their second-teamers out there. 2:23 to play, clock moving as Fort Hays State shifts pre-snap. 3 receivers left. Shotgun formation. Soto is the running back left. Forrester looking, pressured. Bronco player got held, no flag. Ball's floated in the end zone and incomplete. Boy, a Bronco player, Jason Harris, just got absolutely grabbed right in front of the center judge.
Second down and goal.
And it's going to be 2nd and goal.
Yeah, I didn't see Harris, but I was watching the what was going on in the end zone, and I noticed the official back there in the back corner. He had his hat. He threw his hat. I'm not sure who went out of bounds. But regardless, the pass fell incomplete, and UCO will try to stop him here on 2nd down.
2nd and goal from the 3. Forrester claps his hands, takes the snap, hands it to Soto, right side. Soto stacked up at the 2, at the 1, and he'll go down there. They're going to say his forward progress stopped just outside the 1-yard line. We'll call it the 2 officially. It'll be 3rd down and goal. The most important thing, John, is that clock is still rolling, under 2 minutes to play.
UCO will take that, and even if Fort Hays gets the ball in the end zone here, it makes the score not look as great, right? But at the same time, in this league, you want to walk out with a W and get ready to play the next week.
Ball's at the 1-yard line, so it's 3rd and goal from the 1. Forrester, shotgun snap. Hands to Soto again, and this time he's in for the touchdown. Adrian Soto from a yard out cuts into the lead. It's 35-23. I would imagine Fort Hays State will go for 2 here. We'll see, maybe. They are going to go for 2 to try to make it a 10-point game. And then we will have an onside kick after our media timeout, as the Tigers are going to need to recover a couple of those for a chance to win this one. Ball's on the left hash for the 2-point conversion try. 5 receivers, empty backfield for Forrester. Got to watch quarterback draw here. Now they shift and move the receivers in bunch formation. Forrester rolling right. Looking, throwing, and it's incomplete. 2-point conversion is no good. Jason Harris had the pressure. Marco DeMio had the coverage, and it's no good. And with 1:32 to go, the Broncos lead by 12, 35-23, UCO on top. You're listening to UCO Bronco football on KOKC. Stadium hands team out there for the Broncos. Fort Hays State to try an onside here, trailing 35-23. The Broncos up by 12 as Fort Hays State just scored to cut the lead to 12. Broncos have the hands team out there. The ball's got to go 10 yards. And before the play, we've got a timeout, and the Broncos want to adjust to how Fort Hays State set up, which you usually see in these situations.
Well, during that timeout, we'll give a shout-out to Lamont Kemper, who emailed us. Didn't say where Lamont was from, but family of Nasir Kemper. And he says, get him the ball in space and let him work. Great job defense, great team win. And I agree with all that. We also want to say hi to Paul Brown. Paul emailed us from Alaska. Says the MIAA should fear Richardson Stadium. 4-0 at home, baby. Way to protect this house. And that is true.
You know, our man Tom Dunning, the photographer who's been here doing UCO football stuff for UCO sports stuff for a long time, he coined the phrase "fear the falls" last year. I was talking to him pregame. He didn't know until after he had coined that phrase that they use the same phrase at the University of Niagara in New York. That's also kind of their hashtag as well, but it has been true. 4-0 since the falls have been in place here at Chad Richardson Stadium.
Yeah, and
assuming we can hold on to this one, obviously.
Their waterfall's a little more impressive, but ours is in the stadium.
That's right. That's right. That is right. Yeah, I don't think they can put theirs in the stadium. It would just be playing in the mist the whole time.
Yeah, you got to move the stadium to the falls.
Some MIAA scores. Emporia State beats Nebraska Kearney 44-21. Central Mo improves to 2-5. They take down Missouri Southern 20-17 today. And Northwest Missouri State, if you missed us talking about it earlier, a field goal with 2 seconds to go to stave off Washburn up in Maryville 32-30. All right, after the timeout, we'll have the onside kick attempt here from Fort Hays State. They've got 2 kickers out there. Ball's going to be kicked to the left side. It's a high, short kick into an open area that the Broncos pick up. Diego Richards goes and gets it at the 33-yard line and goes to the turf. So they tried to kick it in that open area behind the deep man and gave themselves no chance, and UCO now will have the ball at the 32-yard line, up by 12.
That was a bad onside kick. I mean,
we'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's not, I mean, if that's the way it's designed, that's fine, but there's a UCO player right there to catch that ball, so
In theory, you would think you can kick it to that area and get to it. It's a lot easier to just kick it to 10 yards and hope you get a good bounce.
Yeah, I mean, crazy things can happen. The ball bounces off people. Yeah, absolutely.
Onside kick is way more about luck than skill usually. 1st and 10. Broncos going to try to keep it on the ground here and run this clock out. Hand off to Carney. Andrew Carney, right side, slips a tackle and gets out to the 39-yard line, a gain of 7. Andrew Carney on that fullback dive. It's amazing how successful that play has been for UCO all year. It's 2nd down and 3.
And that play only works if the big guys up front are giving Carney space to run the ball through, because it happens so quick. If you don't open up a hole, Carney's going to hit the back of the offensive line and get, stuffed. But right there, he had a pretty good hole to run through. You can hear the excitement in your voice a little bit, like he was going to maybe break that, and it was a good-looking run early on.
It looks like those always look like a 3-yard run, so anytime they're a 6 or 7-yard run, it feels like a big win. Here's a handoff to Antonio Smith Jr. running left. He's got a 1st down out across the 45 to the 46-yard line. Let's give a shout-out to big Lane Grantham, who was finishing his block 10 yards downfield on that one. It's a 1st down, and that should be all she wrote. The clock is rolling at 35 seconds. The Broncos can put a knee to it, and they're going to get out of here with a victory and improve to 5-2.
Boy, and based on, when you look back at how this season started, if you'd have told Coach Doral and the players and the staff and the fans and us that we were going to be 5-2 at this point in the season, I don't know that I'd agreed with you, but I would have taken it.
Steph Brown takes a knee, and that'll do it. UCO wins this one 35-23 today. The Broncos, who lost 35-0 on the season opener at Missouri Western, who came back home and got what now looks like a very impressive win over Emporia State, then went on the road again and had another stinker in Joplin. We're at 1-2, and since then, 4 straight wins, 3 of those here at Chad Richardson Stadium, and the Broncos are 5-2 as they will head to Topeka next week to take on Washburn. Final score here, 35-23. UCO wins it. We'll take a timeout. We'll be back in 2 minutes with the post-game wrap-up here from Chad Richardson Stadium. You're listening to UCO Bronco Football.